بداية Dr. فليتفضل مأجورة.
Salam. Thank you so much, Doctor. And Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today, this Saturday morning. I'm actually very excited and honored to be here and to be able to share with you a little bit of knowledge and sharing session on the foundation of listening skills. And I really hope that in this session, if we can make it very nice and interactive together so that it is more of a two-way sharing session, yeah, everyone. So I will be looking at the chat box as we go along. So if you have any thoughts or questions or anything that you would like to share, please feel free to share with me. All right, so this topic is very close to my heart. I feel like this is something very important for all of us to have. We need someone to listen. Do you agree with me? We all need someone to listen, and sometimes people around us might require us to listen to them as well. So we know how to listen, but let us learn the art of listening and the foundation of true listening skills. Before I begin, can I ask you a question, everyone? Is it okay if you can share with me? You can type in the chat box. What is the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word listen? What's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word listen? So, what's the first thing that you think of? Ear, yes, correct. Okay, definitely, yes, ear. What else? Sounds, friend, yes, eye, sound, correct. It's very much some of you thinking of it more of a physiological aspect, which is not wrong, and some of you are looking at it more as who listens to you as well, and also the meaning behind it. Attention, answer, yes, awesome. So it's very much the connotation of yes, important, exactly. Pay attention. Silence. Very interesting, Eliana. There is a problem. Okay, there's a problem. Anything else that you feel? That means there's something that you need to listen to, right? You mean like, okay, all right, okay, that's for another problem. Sorry. Okay, all right. So let me come here and let me share with. Okay, expression. Yes, correct. Did you know? Okay, this is based on one software that is a Quran analysis. It was just interesting when I put the word listen there, and it happened to show that there are about 23 verses in the Quran that has the word listen in it. And the word understand is actually more than that. So a lot of you, your answers in the chat box is definitely true. It's more about comprehension. It's a deeper meaning than just the listening ear, right? So understand has more verses in the Quran. And I think that's so beautiful because it shows us that it's not just about listening, it's the understanding of another human being. And that's the beauty of listening. So have you heard of this particular technique called heart-centered listening? Can I ask every one of you to do something for me? Can we do this together, everybody? So, can you close your eyes for just like a few seconds? Let's do this together, truly. Once you close your eyes, shift your focus to your sense of hearing. Imagine you are not just hearing with your ears, but you are listening with your heart and your soul. Let the sounds flow to you without any judgment or analysis. Let's do this together for just a few seconds. Okay, so I'm going to be silent and listen with your heart and your soul without focusing too much on your ears. All right, so I'm going to be silent for a while. Let's do this for a few seconds. Remember to close your eyes. All right. Did you feel like there's an awkward silence? That was only 15 seconds or less, actually. What did you hear in your mind or in your thoughts or in your heart? Did you hear any inner voice? Did your inner voice say, hey, what is going on right now? How long is this going to be for? This is awkward. Or what was your inner voice? What did you hear inside you? Any inner thoughts that you had at that moment when you were doing that activity? Because that is actually your inner voice listening with your heart and your soul. So some people have trouble listening to their inner sound or the inner voice, and they feel like they're so occupied. So the issue with people nowadays, right, is that they're very occupied with, let's say, mindless scrolling on TikTok or even YouTube. Okay, it's okay to feel nothing as well. It's all right. Sometimes, okay, that was only a 10-second kind of an act, right? Try it for 1 minute. and then go to 2 minutes. After some time, you would feel like some thoughts coming in. And you would kind of feel some inner thoughts or inner distractions. So when those distractions come in, it's like a little bit of a traffic frequency coming in, and those thoughts, right, can sometimes interfere with your listening. So we need to be so in tune with our heart and our soul before we listen to another person's heart and soul. So you being silent for about 1 minute or 2 minutes alone can really help you be in touch with your own heart and soul. So that is something for you to do after today's session. Yeah, everyone try it and see. Heart-centered listening. Okay, so I really like this part. It says that I like this book a lot, Al-Farabi on the Perfect State. Al-Farabi emphasizes that humans are naturally social beings. We are social creatures, everybody. We have an intrinsic desire to live in a social setting with communities. And sometimes we need to learn how to communicate and cooperate, but he also says effective listening enables us to understand one another. And that forms a very harmonious relationship, right? And when you listen attentively, you can align your actions for common good, and you go into the state called flourishing. I teach positive psychology in IIUM, and going to a state of flourishing is like a very high state. So in positive psychology, they call it flourish. So they also call it, if you're humanistic point of view, also call it self-actualization. So over here, Al-Ghazali talks about how we can attain that high form of camaraderie with one another, and how that's very important in our relationship. Because if we want to live, some people sometimes they say, you know what? All problems come from people. My biggest problem is people. Anybody heard of that before? People say that how to avoid problem, go away from people. But can we really go away from people? We have to go to some mountain. Even there, you'll find some Sherpa, maybe, right? Okay, so I think you have heard my colleague, Dr. Jismawati, share about this as well, the emanation of the soul. And you can see, like in the Neoplatonism, the soul is also called as fundamentally divine and also has the innate capacity for divine contemplation. So let's go back to the basics here, right? We have the soul's dual nature. We have the higher soul, we have the lower soul. I'm sure you heard of this the other day, right, everybody? So we have the part that is the higher soul, which is very much contemplation of the divine. It seeks unity with the nose. And now the lower soul is actually the soul that engages with the material world, governs the bodily functions. So where does that leave you and me when we are trying to listen? So listening, we are using the lower entity of we're using our ears to listen, but you're really focusing in psychology. We focus on the conscious, and then we focus on the preconscious, and then we also go into the unconscious of the soul of the person that we are talking to, like our client. So that part it takes a lot of skill and art. And from an Islamic concept of the self, you can see that we have an akal, we have the nafs, and I think a lot of you are familiar with this. You have seen this as well the other day. You have the kalb and then the roh. So whenever we talk to people, I like this other model as well. This is by Abdullah Rahman. He talks about the iceberg analogy, and his iceberg analogy, if you've heard of Sigmund Freud before, everyone, I'm sure you've heard of Sigmund Freud. He has another iceberg analogy, which is also very, very insightful for us. I like this analogy by Abdullah Rahman, which talks about the nafs being above the surface of the water. That's the presenting issues. That's the presenting problem. If you are facing a particular issue, usually, or if somebody comes to you with a problem, they're only showing you the surface of the water, above the surface of the water. You can only see their behavior and whatever they share with you through their speech. That's what you can see, right? We call that the nafs area. And then, but when you really speak to them, when you really listen to them, you would realize the akal. And that's where you're going deeper into their cognitive state. And when you really listen intently and you know the right questions to ask, and then you listen once again, you're going deeper into the kalb. And then you're going to see what exactly could be the dissonance between the akal and the kalb, and what are their emotional states. And as you go even deeper, if you're able to, you will go into the spiritual state of the person. And that's where the true healing takes place in the person. That's where inner transformation of resolving psychological issues can really take place, very much deep beneath the surface of the water. So, you know what, everyone? Listening is really a gift that we give someone, and we know that God is the giver of this gift, right? Al Wahhab. And we often forget about the blessing within this act, actually, and within this art. There is a blessing that you get when you listen to someone. And it is like a gift that you give someone when you're giving them your listening ear and your listening heart as well, right? There's a difference, by the way, everyone, between the act of listening and the art of listening. So the act of listening, of course, we know this, right? It's very much you hearing the words. When the art of listening, you understand the words that you have heard. You understand the meaning behind it. I might say to you, like, there was once a client said to me this, I hate my mother. And then she started laughing. And she laughed, really. I hate my mother. And she laughed. And when you really listen behind it, she's laughing, making it like it's a joke. But actually, that was a very serious statement. And she was deeply hurt when she was making that statement. So if we just hear the words here, we just think, no, I don't think she's serious. She's just joking. She's just laughing. But if you understand the meaning behind it, then you know that there is deep pain behind that laughter. That laughter is just a front that she's putting on to hide that pain. So you understand the meaning behind those words. In the chat box, right, everyone, can you type for me? Can you share with me an instance when, maybe an example of someone who said something that was so touching to you, that made you feel like you were listened to? There was once I was so tired, and I think I was talking to a friend, and then my friend said to me, it must be so tiring from what I can see, what you're going through. It must be a lot that you're feeling. So it's so comforting when you hear someone saying that, because it means like you feel seen. The key word here is seen, right, everyone? I'm here for you. Yes, thank you so much, Madam Raini. So the focus here in active listening is very passive, but the art of listening is active. That's why we call it in psychology, we call it active listening. So you build trust when you listen, everyone. The Prophet, peace be upon him, had a beautiful way of making people feel important just by the act of listening. He had a focus and reference when you listen to others. Thank you so much, Dr. Nawawi, when you were 6 years old and your elder brother said that I'm adopted. Okay, and how did you feel at that moment? That must have been a shock for you. And did you share that with anybody? So I really love that the Prophet, peace be upon him, he listened to others with great care. His ego was never at the forefront. This keyword here is to avoid ego. And there are numerous examples of how the Prophet, peace be upon him, engaged in conversations. He always listened attentively. And the keyword here is he never interrupted others, while they were speaking. Do you know there's a thing that they said here is that he would always wait for the person to exhale before he would then give his response. He wouldn't just interrupt when the person looks like, have you seen people before when you're in the middle of speaking and you take a deep breath, like you're about to continue your sentence and the person interrupts you and then you feel like, I wasn't able to even get there yet, So it kind of feels difficult. But for the Prophet, he actually would wait for someone to exhale before he actually went in. And there is a hadith that it is said that it is narrated that when the Prophet would turn to speak to someone, he would turn his whole body towards them and give them his full attention. And I found that so helpful and beautiful. And this shows that active listening and showing respect to the speaker, the one that you're listening to, is very important in communication, right? Okay, I like this other example here. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, another example. The Prophet was known for his exceptional patience and attentiveness when listening to people. So he would give his full attention, maintain eye contact, and wait for people to finish speaking before responding. So you can see the example in the Quran. Allah commands the Prophet to listen attentively to those who seek guidance and do not drive away those who call upon their Lord morning and afternoon seeking his face. All right. And Prophet Ibrahim, another wonderful story is that Prophet Ibrahim listened carefully to his father's arguments about idol worship, and he responded thoughtfully with logical reasoning and compassion. A lot of times, when we see someone doing something wrong, we tend to get into, we're worried for them. We have a very good intention and we're kind of worried for them. But we accidentally sometimes might go into instructing them, you should stop this is bad, this is sinful. We mean well, but let's follow the example of Prophet Ibrahim. He responded to his father with reasoning, but with compassion. Oh, my father, do not worship Satan. Indeed, Satan has ever been to the merciful disobedient. So you can see that these are very, very good examples of what we can do. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Dr. Nawawi. I think that must have been very painful for you and not easy for you. When someone shared here, when I was 30, the doctor diagnosed me with dyslexia. I feel like people around me see me as strange. That's also something that might make you feel alone. That's why talking to someone about it is very important, because people who are not aware or who have low awareness or maybe even not a very good EQ, they sometimes might look down or maybe look at us strangely. Some of you say here, okay, how about when a person speaks ceaselessly about trivial matters and not giving one the opportunity to give one's response? That's a very good point, Aisha. I think when someone is speaking nonstop about things that are not important, I think that's when you could very politely dive into the conversation when they take a pause and then slowly kind of like shift the course of and the direction of the conversation, because I have been in those kind of situations before. For me, talking trivial matters and ceaselessly can be like gossip as well, talking negatively about another person. And usually what I would do is I would say, let's talk about us right now, what we are going through. Tell me about you, what's happening with you. So I slowly steer the conversation a little bit. Dr. Nawawi says, how about when someone being sarcastic in asking or talking to you, how do you respond? I guess it would depend on the sarcastic statement that they're saying. So if they're being very sarcastic, usually I do not waste my energy on them. Some people might respond back in a way by being angry. So reacting is the exact aim that they want from you. They want you to react. That's why they're being sarcastic or being rude, right? So the best way is to just sometimes be silent and then ask them, I wonder what you meant by that. I wonder where this is coming from. So that's another way to respond if you would like to. Or if not, a very good way is I usually do not respond to that in a very active way, because the moment we give them attention, that's when they feel like they're important and they might continue doing that. So it's tricky, but there's a way to respond to that. I like this part here also, this very nice example, but Prophet Musa is another favorite, a wonderful person. You can see that in the Quran, when Prophet Musa encountered the burning bush, right? And you see, like when God called out to him, Musa listened with deep humility. Prophet Musa listened with deep humility and attentiveness. So here it says that, and when he came to it, he was called, "O Musa, I am your Lord. So remove your sandals. Indeed, you are in the sacred valley of Tuwa," in the Surah Taha 20:11-12. So Prophet Musa stopped and fully engaged with the divine message, demonstrating respect and submission. And he acknowledged his limitations and sought clarification when Allah gave him his mission. Okay, everyone. So there are three parts here. The capacity for love and empathy, everyone. The Neoplatonic concept is the soul's innate longing for the divine, fosters love and connection to others. The Islamic perspective is ihsan and rahmah are emphasized as acts of love and compassion, right? And the psychological perspective is empathy is a cognitive and emotional skill. Okay, let's get right to it, everyone. Part number 1, attending and empathy skills. Okay, so the first part of the basics of listening is empathy and attending skills. These skills are talking about being fully present physically and mentally, and you actively listen and understand another person's feelings. Some of them say it's almost as if you are opening the door into someone's thoughts and heart and world. You enter their world and you see what it's like. You don't have judgment, you're just observant, and you give them a very nice gesture of compassion. There are three types of empathy, everyone. Okay, so I think I should share with you, well, first of all, what is empathy? Empathy is when you put yourself in another person's shoes. It's as if I remove my shoes right now, I ask you to remove your shoes, I place my feet in your shoes, and I feel this is what it feels like to be you. This is what your world looks like. So that's the power of empathy when you are able to put yourself in another person's shoes. It's a gift, actually, of feeling another person's emotions when you can really embody that. So, somatic empathy means you are able to mirror and observe. You are really able to observe somebody else's physiological responses. So somatic is very much physiological in your body. Maybe sometimes when a person is nervous, they might do this, they might do this, they might avoid eye contact. That's very much somatic on empathy. You're able to really respond to another person's emotional state by looking at the tension in their body and what you're looking at physically. Affective empathy is very much an emotional empathy. You are resonating with the emotions in their responses. You are really, really trying to resonate with that. You're trying to see the emotion that they're having. And I agree with Dr. Nawawi as well. You need to have a limit to that. We have compassion, but we don't be unlimited compassion. If you have unlimited in a way that you can have love that is bountiful, but you don't absorb another person's problem. That is why the important part is you open the door, you enter their world, but don't forget that once you're done listening, you come out of that room and you close the door and you enter into your life once again. Otherwise, you might get caught up and absorbed into another person's world and problem. Okay, so the third empathy is cognitive empathy. You can intellectually understand where the other person is coming from. If I say to you that I'm just so tired of life right now, it is so difficult for me. So most people, if it's me when I was younger last time, I think the usual response I would say is, don't be so tired, don't think that way, life has so much for you. And that's not wrong to say that. It's just that that comes from a good place. It's a very good intention, but it sounds like we are dismissing off what the other person is saying. It sounds like we are accidentally invalidating their response. So a good way to say is that I see your pain. I can see that it must be quite difficult for you to really be able to, what you're going through right now. Can I share this example with you, everyone? I'm going to share a video with you, and this is a very, very nice video, and I would like you to have a look at it, right? Tell me if you can hear it as well.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out
Oops, sorry. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, first of all, for watching that video. And I think I have some really nice responses here. So I'm just going to take this one first before I go to Dr. Bashir as well, right? So Husna, thank you for sharing that. When you have a family member or a friend who's like in distress, and then you feel like mirroring them can make you feel like a discomfort. So remember, somatic empathy doesn't mean that we now start to become in distress because the other person is in distress. It just means that you're kind of, the mirroring here doesn't mean that you adopt their distress. The mirroring here means that if they're very down and they're very sad and they're kind of looking downwards, you're kind of mirroring that particular physiological response, but not adopting their distress. So that means that you're able to observe physically what they're doing, their body language. So you're kind of mirroring that. You're nodding. If they're nodding, you can see that they're quiet. So you make your voice a little quiet as well. It's more of that kind of mirroring, not the mirroring that we adopt their distress, because that can actually go into compassion fatigue, which is what I think Dr. Bashir was talking about that over there. Compassion fatigue, yes. So that kind of fatigue, that's a very good term that you mentioned. So that comes when you are burnt out in giving that empathy. And that's a very important point that you brought out. So listening is very good, but you need to have those boundaries as well. And the boundaries is like what I shared just now. You open the door of the world of the person, you enter in, you listen, you are there, you're able to empathize, you see their pain, but don't forget that we need to have that boundary to then come out into your own life as well. So sometimes some people might feel afraid if it's selfish, when really it's not. You're just having the boundaries so that you can now be 100% to give that once more to another person or even to that same person again. So that's a very important point that you brought up. Remember, empathy is a valuable skill. And remember in the video just now, she said that it's very rare that a response can actually just make everything go away and make a person feel better completely. It's just you being present there. So listening is not so much, what do I say next? What do I say next? Just you being there, being able to spend that time, see that sorrow of another person, but not adopting that sorrow and now absorbing it. And now you need help now, it's more of you understanding is not absorbing, right? You acknowledge that I see your pain, because listening with empathy builds trust. And what I'm sharing with you today is not just for you to use with people who have problems. You can use this skill with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with your spouse, anyone around you, because empathy is a skill that goes a long way, because this is how we connect with people. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, is known as the Al-Amin, right? The trustworthy. That's why people turn to him due to this attribute that we can see here. I want to share with you these 3 E's that I adopted from this wonderful source down there, right, Amalia? There are 3 E's here for listening. Listen without ego, listen to the emotion, and listen with empathy. Listening without ego means you're not listening, putting on the hat of an expert, like I'm an expert advisor here. I'm here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong and I'm here to solve your problems. No, you're listening without an ego. You know that you also are not perfect and you're listening from soul to another soul. Don't look at the outside. Think of it as two souls connecting right now, and God has maybe sent you there to help this other person. Listen to the emotional statements that they are saying. They may not say an emotion, but decipher the emotion behind that. If, for example, somebody says to you that, I felt so like my friend actually like blocked me and that was so horrible. So do you realize that the person has not told you the emotion yet? So you can ask them, how did that feel when that person did that to you? And then they say to you, it was horrible. It was painful. I felt like I would, I just couldn't take it anymore. So try to listen to that emotion and then you reflect back. I can see that pain. It must have been really difficult for you. Even reflecting on that emotion is very, very vital. Then listen with empathy, like what I shared with you. Do you know, everyone? This is like empathy is not just an emotional word. It's very physiological, by the way. When you practice active listening, according to neuropsychology, you can see like certain parts of the brain is actually lit up and activated. It's very, very much activated and some parts lit up when a person is engaging in active listening. So it's really a two-way gift, you know. It's a gift to the person who you are listening to. It's a gift to yourself. You're activating these parts in your brain as well. Okay, I really want to share with you this very, very important techniques, everyone. Carry this with you back when you go back, all right? So these are the foundations of basic listenings. We have here 3VB. That's the acronym in counseling, right? We call it the 3VB. So the first V is visual. When you listen to someone, look at them. I think this is a basic that all of you know, right? You really look at them and face them squarely. You are facing them and you're looking at them, because when you look at them, they feel seen, as compared to sitting at the dinner table and like on the phone, and then you go up maybe 1 second, listen, and then go down back again on your phone, or maybe, you know, looking elsewhere. That's very common, you know. I go to cafe sometimes. Last time, many years ago, I used to go to, whenever I go to a cafe, I see couples or families, and sometimes the couple is like, each of them is reading a newspaper. But now, oh, nobody really buys newspaper very much nowadays. So they're all on their phone. There was a restaurant that said, I'll give you a discount if nobody uses their phone. Until that extent, you know, we've come to. So visual, look at the person when you're talking. The next one is vocal tone, vocal quality. Do you know the tone of voice is very important? The way you channel your voice, use it with compassion, love, and empathy. When your vocal tone is calming and love and compassion, even that is a very important tool that can make a person feel like they're listened to. Like there are so many ways we can do this. If somebody says to you that that was so hurtful, you know, when my friend blocked me and like she just ghosted me and I don't know what's happening anymore. So you could say, that made you feel sad. I can see that made you feel sad. But if I say it in this way, that made you feel sad, can you see how condescending the second one was? So the way you use your vocal tone can indicate your compassion and your understanding of that person. And then you come to the other V, it's called verbal tracking. This is when, exactly like the term verbal tracking, you sort of track their words. If they're say, you know, a very simple trick in negotiation skills, right? If you want you want to probe somebody to talk more, you just have to repeat the last word, but also, you know, probing them with that last word. For a simple kind of like 101 thing. For example, they say to you that, I was so hurt and sad yesterday. And then they just stop there. So one way to probe a little bit more to listen is to say to them, you felt sad yesterday? I can see that that must have been hard. You felt sad. So repeating a little bit of the key word there, and then probing them with your body language of nodding a little bit, and then looking at them. All of these things can really probe somebody to speak more. Now, they might say, I'm going through this, I got 5 things, so many things I'm going through. And then you do not know what to focus on, right? Maybe you could bring them back to the topic. If they're talking about A, B, C, D, and then Z, you could bring them back. Remember just now, I'm very interested to know about what you said just now. You were talking about your friend as well. Maybe can you tell me more about that? So bring them back to that line a little bit. So that is bring them back on track. Because sometimes when someone is going through a lot, they might go all over the place. So this is you tracking them. Remember the trick is to kind of look at the last word that they say, and you sort of like repeat that a little bit, like that felt sad. What do you feel more about that? So you're kind of repeating the last part a little bit. And for body language, I would like to share with you this very basic tips here in counseling skills, okay, in listening skills as well. Soler, we call it Soler, Soler. So over here, make sure that you are sitting comfortably when you're speaking to somebody. Make sure that you're comfortable, because if you're nervous and you're not comfortable, it's going to give out those vibes that you're not comfortable, actually. Have an open posture, your arms and legs uncrossed, not like this, not crossing your legs, but very much an open posture, you know. And then you lean forward when you're talking to them. Look interested, be attentive, right? When you look at them, when you listen to them, when you face them, have a very good eye contact with them. That's E. And R, remain relaxed. Maybe you need to take a deep breath as well sometimes. So this is like the basic here that I want to share with you. Okay, now that we know how to listen, let me tell you how not to listen. Okay, these are the don'ts over here. We call it pseudo listening. And sometimes, I mean, to be really honest, I'm guilty of some of this as well in the past, right? So sometimes we thought we are listening, but we do not realize that it's not exactly a very effective technique. So the first pseudo listening, everybody, is called universalization. Universalization is, for example, you are generalizing their problem. If somebody says, you know what, I feel so stressed with my work. I don't really know what to do. PhD is not easy. And then we say to them, everybody's going through problems. You're not the only one. Everyone also has got problems. Everybody's PhD is not easy. The moment we say that, although it's true, it may be true, but we will invalidate their feelings. We are like generalizing that you're not the only one, there are other people in other countries suffering worse than you. The moment we say that, it's like we invalidate what they're feeling because they're having a problem right now. They're going through something. Or it's not only for problems, everybody. It's also for good news. Let's say somebody says like, wow, I'm so happy that I was able to, score so high in this exam. And then somebody says, everybody scores high for that exam. It's nothing big, actually. Ouch. That's also universalization. So it's very much like you invalidating what they're saying. Okay, the next one is I want to share with you is spiritualization. This is a very common one as well, and it comes from a very good place and a good intention. For example, when someone talks to us about something, we immediately go into advising them in a spiritual way, which is not wrong, but the way we say it is very, very delicate. I once saw somebody role playing it. They're doing a role play. So the guy was saying that I'm having depression and my depression level is severe. I'm going through a lot. There's so much that I'm facing. And then the other person said, you know what? Other persons have had it worse. You should not think this way as a spiritual, as a religious person. It's very wrong for you to behave this way. You should not be in depression, actually. You're not praying enough, or something like that, So it makes the other person feel judged spiritually. And it makes them feel like, so are you saying that my iman is not strong enough? So they feel worse after that, actually. So a good way for us, because, everyone, I know a lot of good clients who are very spiritual, very good Muslims and very wonderful, but they also have anxiety or depression. So it does not actually does not explain that in that way, right? So it's very important for us to respond with compassion because we do not know when we might be tested or might go through things. So it's very important for us to say, to avoid going into that, putting on the hat of thinking that we are holier than thou in a way. So we're going into advising. And then the third one is counter disclosure. This is very common also, everyone. I think I'm guilty of this last time as well. When someone is sharing with you something, we want to relate to them. We want to help them know that you're not alone. I went through that before. So it's good to say that. But sometimes we can accidentally go into talking about ourselves. And then now we start to talk about ourselves. And then we say that, I know how it feels. Kan last time, right? I went through that before and I felt so sad. You know what happened to me last time? And then we go into sharing the whole story about ourselves. And then we take over the whole conversation. And that's not a very good, helpful thing because now we made it all about us. That's called counter disclosure. The fourth one, everyone, is called solution or advice giving. We immediately go into giving advice. We don't listen. We immediately say, you know what? Okay, I know that you're having this problem financially. I think you have to do this, 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 this. So a lot of times, everyone, they know what they need to do, but they just need someone to listen. If they say, I'm having a problem with my marriage, I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like we're not listening to each other. I feel like my husband and me are not connecting. Okay. Now, someone who is going into advice giving might say, I think, it looks like he's not caring for you anymore. I think you better think about what to do next. It's not right anymore. I think you better actually separate, for example, and I have really heard some people say this to another client before. And that is very sad to hear that, because you are giving unsolicited advice, and that could destroy a person's relationship. So it's very dangerous to do that. Never give that kind of solution when we do not know what is God's plan for that person. Okay, placating or pacifying is another very common pseudo listening, you know. This is when you pacify the person. When they cry, have you ever had someone cry to you before? When they're talking about something, they cry to you, suddenly they cry and they say, I'm just so sad that my life is like this. What's the first thing that someone says? What's the first thing that most people would say? They would say, like, don't cry, it's okay, it's all right, it'll get better, don't cry, you know. And actually, it's not a bad thing to say that. It's just that that pacifying way is like stopping the person from sharing more, because now they feel like, oh, I should stop crying. I should stop crying, you know. So tell them it's okay to cry. It's okay. It's crying is therapeutic sometimes, to let it out of your body. It's not a bad thing, right, everyone? So I really want to come to another part here. Just give me a moment here. I'm aware of the time as well.
Yeah,
So thank you. Okay, so I really want to be able to
because we have a Q&A question session. I thought many questions, but the participant will have many questions.
Okay, sure. Okay, my last slide, yeah. I just let me close with this. A reminder, everybody, is that people have the ability to grow and change, especially when they receive good guidance and communication, you know. So listen carefully. Listening carefully can really help a person understand another person's unique struggles and goals. It helps them to make progress. So remember this picture, everybody. You are opening the door into this room here. You're coming from, maybe if you're having a good time, right? You're coming from a place of sunshine, and you're entering into the room of someone who's going through a lot, and you see their world. Now, don't forget to come out of that room and close that door when you listen. All right, okay, I'm going to end here for now. I will take your questions, everyone. Do you have any questions? That I would love to take some questions here.
You can also raise up your hand
Yes.
so that Doctor can see visual, what we call direct question.
Yes. I like what Dr. Nurul has not said. I really appreciate. I truly need that. I'm not being selfish. It's just that I need boundaries. Exactly. I think the key word here is selfish. You know, when I read the news, sometimes I feel sad. I feel very affected, actually. And then what I do is, normally I will pray for the person I'm reading. Somebody got accident. Somebody this. What's happening around the world? I would pray. And sometimes I do admit. Sometimes it played in my mind, even when I'm bathing, when I'm sleeping. Sometimes there was even a nightmare. That's how I know, I need to have some boundaries right now. I think I'm absorbing too much. That's when I release it out. And for me, I release in prayer. And for me, when you're praying and you had a dua, it really feels so nice that you release it out to God, and then God will take care of that person and that situation, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Maybe if anybody has any questions as well. Okay, when we share similar problem with the person is to make the person, yes, you are right, Sister or Dr. Malia, you are very, very true and right. I do that a lot as well, even now. But I'm very aware to make sure that I don't turn the conversation about me. So it's true what you said. We say to them, like, you know what, can I share with you something? I really relate to that issue. I've been having issues with that too. You can say that. For example, okay, a simple example, if I may disclose as well. I had to shift my things many times, shift house, shift room and everything. So I had a client who was saying it was so stressful for her to have to shift within this month. And I could say to her that after listening to her first, and then I said to her, you know, if I may share with you, I can relate to that emotion. When I had to shift, I just like broke down and cried because it's too much things, you know. I felt so overwhelmed, and I think I can see that pain. So a little bit of that is nice, just to make sure that we don't overtake the session. Okay, Dr. Bashir says that, can we be too empathic lead you to become apathic? That's very true. I think that's exactly what somebody shared earlier about compassion fatigue. When you're so empathic, right? there was once I was really responding to anybody's email who was in distress during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I was responding at 4 a.m. I was responding at whatever time. I just respond. Somebody having anxiety, I would want to, respond and help them. But the thing is, it came to a point I kind of had a little bit of I think I was kind of tired, and suddenly it makes you feel a bit like numb for a while. And that's how I realized, okay, Pam, I gotta take a step back right now and re-energize, heal. We need to reclaim back that feelings and heal. How do we heal? For me is there's a very nice model that you got to know, everybody. It's called the biopsychosocial spiritual. So, biopsychosocial and spiritual model. I feel like this helps me a lot. So, biologically, take care of your body. I know it sounds cliche, but truly it helps when you go for a walk, when you psychologically talk to somebody, talk to someone about it, listen to music, pray. Okay, so socially interacting with people, spiritually listening to something that is like a spiritual message is very helpful as well. Let me share the last slide. Somebody wants to share the last slide. Do you mean this one?
Um,
Okay, sorry. No, not this one, sorry. Let me see. We can develop healing circle for those who are involved in this kind of profession. Very, very true. That's very true. Actually, in psychology, we have something known as a debriefing session. So psychologists also, actually, we need a debriefing session, psychologically heal from it. So you're right. We need a group settings. We do it in a group setting as well. So I like this slide here. It talks about how people have the ability to actually grow, right? So this is the one here. Okay.
Doctor,
Yeah, sorry.
we have passed the time.
Okay, all
Inshallah,
right.
this slide we will share with the participant, all the participants.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
I know that because it's regarding the psychology, there is many questions, many problems. So there is very interesting.
Thank you so much.
I think it's not enough for 1 hour. This class.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for wonderful sharing today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Salam.
inshallah we will see you again in the next
Next
session.
week. Thank you. Salam.
Dr. Tengku Siti Aisha.
Yes, I'm here.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Salam.
Sorry, we are a little bit late because the topic that Dr. Pamilia sharing are very interested, and we have extended time. And Doctor, you may extend the time also because after that we have break during that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Doctor, I think this is the first time for you also, right?
Sure, this is the first time for me.
Because this exactly is for another doctors, but because
Sure.
she's sick, so doctor will replace the class today. So with that, let me introduce a bit regarding your brief biodata. She is an assistant professor, Dr. Tengku Siti Aisha, Tengku Mohamad Azman Sharifuddin. She has been an academic staff member with IIUM since 2004. She obtained her bachelor degree in human science, specialized in communication with IIUM in 2022. She's obtained a Master's of Science in Communication Technology from UPM in 2007. She then successfully completed her PhD in Communication Studies in Kent State University, Ohio in 2014. The focus of her dissertation was on the use of social media in maintaining close friendship. She is a member of the Electoral Research Unit in IIUM, an external examiner for Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, APU, from 2023 to 2029. and the lifetime member of the Malaysian Association of Communication Education, MACE. Her research area has focused mainly on the use of new media and communication technology among the young adults and cross-cultural communication. She has served as a academic advisor for the Department of Communication Science 2014 until now, 2023. The academic quality assurance license HA division for the AHAS IKHS from 2020-2023. Presently, she is an associate professor and head of the Department of Communication, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Real Knowledge and Human Science. With that, we will listen today for her presentation regarding the media communication and social media, challenging and misbehavior. With that, فليتفضل مأجورة دكتور.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm not able to share my slides here. I don't know why. So maybe you can appoint me as a host so that I can share the slides. I'm not sure why I can't share my slides. Because I'm not able to share it. Sister Jara, could you help me with this? Okay, I think I'm clicking it right now. I hope you can see my slides.
But can you raise up your hand again so that I can appoint the right person?
Okay. Can you see my slides on the screen?
Not yet.
Is that not yet? Okay, let me try again. Yeah, because just now I tried to share the slides. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Dah nampak eh? Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone, IIIT participants in short course in human sciences. I'm sure everyone comes from many different countries. I'm excited to see so many people from different races, ethnicities, and background. So today I'm going to present something on digital communication and social media, challenges and misbehaviors. So this is basically what I plan to talk about today. I'm going to go over some key terms, and then I'm going to talk about characteristics of mediated communication, and then we're going to move on to challenges and misbehaviors. And finally, I'm going to talk about some general Islamic guidelines to mediated communication. So in terms of what mediated communication is, it has transformed how we interact, offering unprecedented opportunities for connection and expression. Today, everyone owns a social media account, whether you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and it doesn't just involve young adults. Older adults are becoming more connected as well. However, these platforms also present unique challenges and may foster misbehaviors through the nature of internet and social media that encourages anonymity and freedom of expression. So it's the nature of the internet to allow people to express their opinions. At the same time, a lot of people hide behind anonymous profiles. They don't disclose their pictures, their names, and that somehow gives people the freedom to just say whatever they want. So therefore, there are some issues like cyberbullying, misinformation, and identity theft that can undermine trust and emotional well-being, particularly for adolescents and younger adults. Additionally, the anonymity and distance provided by digital interactions can also lead to lack of accountability. So like I said, people are hiding behind anonymous profiles. So it results in harmful behaviors that might not occur in face-to-face settings. So specifically, anonymity has resulted in users engaging in contentious and inflammatory behavior online due to perceived lack of repercussions. So they feel they can get away with saying anything online. So navigating these complexities requires a critical understanding of both the potential and pitfalls of online communication. So as I go through my slides, please feel free to comment or post any questions that you would like to in the chat box. And in terms of social media use in Malaysia, so since I'm coming from Malaysia, I'm giving some Malaysian context here. There's some popular social media messaging applications and platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and X. So this is according to Bernama, some of the more popular ones, but of course, younger people tend to use new ones as well. So according to MCMC, which is the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission, the most common reason for using the internet is to communicate with others and to use social networking platforms. So a lot of our time is spent digitally. Just now, Dr. Pam was talking about how people constantly look at their phones. I think this is very true. I'm sure you've been out with someone, a friend or a coworker, or even your children. You're sitting down at the same table, but you're not talking to each other. You're just looking at your phones. So it's up to the extent, in terms of usage of phones to access SNS. And although Facebook use is declining among Malaysians, younger users are gravitating to other platforms such as TikTok and Instagram. So there are many advantages, of course, for using social media. It's a convenient way to communicate with others. It provides good opportunity to network, and it's easy to use, and it can be used to share information. So information sharing is a very important part of social media. Now that we are in disaster periods such as flood, or when you're experiencing accidents, or when you're going through things like tsunami, social media platforms can be useful to share information and updated tips to people who are involved in the same type of situation. So again, it's a positive way to connect and share information, but there are also pitfalls. So some terms that are used interchangeably include mediated communication, digital communication, computer-mediated communication, social media, and online communication. So throughout this presentation and talk, I will refer to it as CMC, which is computer-mediated communication. And it involves a wide range of technologies that facilitate both human communication and interactive sharing of information through computer networks, including emails, discussion group, news group, chat, instant messages, and also social media pages. A variety of systems that allows individuals to communicate with others using computers and network. It occurs as individuals uses computers and any other mobile devices as an intermediary in the communication process. So it's mediated communication because you are communicating via a technological platform. And the process of exchange of meaning among two or more individuals through digital technologies. This is according to CAR 2020. And of course, when we talk about computer-mediated communication, some of the early research has focused on text-based communication and how it pretty much differs from the face-to-face context. So early on, a lot of research has focused on things like chat rooms and how people use emails and things like that. But more contemporary approach has focused on how users interact and exchange messages in a variety of other channels, include desktop computers, laptops, tablets, smartphones, smartwatches, and various other emerging technologies. So some of the more current research is also looking into how people use technology to communicate with others in health communication, in terms of religious communication, and things like that. So the nature of our communication via mediated platform has evolved and will continue to evolve. And we are talking about AI now, we're talking about robots and things like that. So it will continue to evolve in accordance with changes reflected in a new communication technology landscape. And these are some of the characteristics of computer-mediated communication. So let's take a look at it. So the first feature is that definitely is very much interactive. So you can become the sender and the receiver at the same time. So communication circumstances in which it is simultaneous and constant exchanges transpire, and these exchanges transmit a social binding force. And communication through mediated platforms may involve numerous exchanges of messages simultaneously between multiple media audiences through real-time communication. So I'm sure some of you are very familiar with TikTok, correct? So when you are using TikTok, it becomes viral. People will continue to share and reshare the video and exchange comments on the video via the platform. Okay, so this is something that occurs all the time with a new technology. It's supposed to be very interactive. You're not just the sender, but you also become the receiver at the same time. So again, It's also multi-way of communication. So Facebook users can respond to posts in many ways, including commenting, resharing, and creating memes from the original Facebook post, as well as using emojis or reaction feature to respond. So some of you, perhaps you don't say anything, but you just click the like button, or you click the reshare button or retweet button. However, this may lead to information overload, causing users to have trouble deciphering between relevant and irrelevant messages. So, of course, information overload is a common occurrence in any mediated communication platforms. There's just so many things coming in and out. Sometimes it's hard for you to decide what is relevant, what is not. And very often, I myself am guilty of this. I share things without thinking of whether it's true or not. And that is a very dangerous thing to do, because sometimes you share unverified information, especially in areas like the health communication context. Perhaps someone has been talking about a miracle cure for things and you think it sounds great, so you just share it without thinking, is it coming from a verifiable source, is it true, is it proper, and things like that. And of course, communication via mediated platforms can be synchronous or asynchronous. Yeah. So in terms of synchronicity, this is when messages exchange between two or more people involve real-time communication. So it's happening real time. Okay. For example, right now you are watching me live on YouTube and you're commenting live on YouTube and I respond to you live. So that's synchronous. And it's the extent to which exchange of messages, such as feedback, is real time and instantaneous rather than delayed. So examples include live video conferencing, chat rooms, instant messaging programs, and other virtual communities. And it can also be asynchronous. So asynchronous communication happens when there are time lapses between the posting of a message and its response. For example, you receive an email, you don't reply there and then, you take a couple of days to respond. So messages exchanged through these platforms, such as public discussion boards, emails, and posts, are asynchronous in nature. Its advantages and disadvantages at the same time when it comes to asynchronous communication. Yeah. So again, sometimes immediate feedback is required. So if it's asynchronous, it can cause delay. People feel that you are not prioritizing their message. At the same time, it allows you time to also think about your response. So users are afforded time to craft, edit, and reply to messages. And of course, right now, even if communication is synchronous, I think technology allows you to edit messages after it's sent, for example, in WhatsApp. Okay, so again, this is something that's very important here, because sometimes when we craft messages, it's not accurate, or messages crafted are quick and without thinking. So again, the ability to edit is very important. Yeah. And when it comes to messages, I've mentioned this again, computer messages sometimes are anonymous. So people interact with relatively unknown others, and they can also use other people's photos to obscure their identities. For example, a lot of young people now use pictures of celebrities, influencers, and things like that as their profile, and you don't actually know. I think we realized this during COVID, when we had to teach online. We're talking to students on their Zoom or Teams profile, and we don't know how they look like. And recently, one of our convocation, this was the batch during COVID. So as I attended the convocation, I was also surprised by how people looked, because I didn't see them live in person. So they look very different compared to their photos. So it was a good thing to try to attach a human face behind the profile and things like that. Yeah. However, CMC messages can also be low in anonymity, such as a personal conversation between users who know each other personally on mobile messaging applications. So this perhaps applies to people you know in real life, and you connect also with them online. You actually know them very well. So this is low in terms of anonymity. So again, repercussions are different. Sometimes with anonymous messages, you say things that you don't mean, or you say things that are not accurate, and you're not really careful to filter yourself. But with messages that comes with participants with low anonymity, perhaps you're more careful. You don't say things to your mother that you say online and you say in real life. So this is something that you're careful to craft messages when you know the person. And of course, the ability of customization is very important in today's online communication. So CMC messages can be customized to a certain extent. So you modify according to specific user input or user navigation, and then provide information that is tailored to the users as unique individuals. So for example, you can craft the same message, but add a salam and the person's name to your mother, and then to your friend, you change the name and things like that. So, and of course, social media profiles allow you a lot of customization. You can edit your privacy settings, you can edit your profile photos, you can edit who sees your information. Yeah. And this is an example given through a halal dating website where a person can edit their profile and determine who they would like to meet by customizing the characteristics of their potential dating partners. So this is something that CMC allows you to do. Messages can be customized to the person receiving the message. And of course, we talk about social presence. That's very important in online communication. So when social presence is high, users perceive the interaction as if they're not mediated and are able to construct a salient impression of other interactants. So this is when you communicate online, but you can still sense the person's personality. They're warm and engaging. You feel like you know the person on the other end of the line. Yeah. So that's when social presence is high. So in most recent social media applications, there may be high levels of social presence, where the use of audio and visual cues, as well as the synchronicity of live feeds, may afford users the ability to convey higher levels of social presence. So this can happen in platforms such as TikTok and also Instagram, where social presence is high. You complement it with both audio and visual cues. And when it comes to CMC in today's application, definitely it's very much possible to not only include textual information, but you can also include audio and visual communication. That is when social presence can be manipulated to a higher degree. And let's move on to the next part of the presentation. So I'm going to talk about some challenges and misbehaviors in mediated communication. Of course, when it comes to mediated communication, these are not exhaustive. We have a lot more misbehaviors, but I'm just going to list down some of the few more important ones that I feel people should pay attention to. So let's talk about some challenges and misbehaviors. So in terms of cyberbullying, I think this is one of the more common negative, darker side of computer-mediated communication. So it's known as electronic bullying or online bullying. So perhaps some of you have been victims of cyberbullies, or maybe some of you have had children who's been through this experience. So this is a very common, unfortunately, occurrence in a CMC environment. So this is any hurtful and intended communication activity using any form of technological devices such as the internet or mobile phones. And social networking websites are the most common locations for online harassment in comparison to other applications. So this is like a hotbed environment that seems to encourage cyberbullying because of the anonymity present. Yeah, so people can say things. They feel like they can be aggressive, they can be rude, they can bully someone. These are things that they can say online, but they would never say offline. And of course, it's a common misbehavior among young adults. In a research done by Pew Research Center in 2020, 2/3 of adults under the age of 30 has reported experiencing online harassment. So this is, I think, the study was done in the United States, but it's also common in Asia. And unfortunately, in Malaysia, we are ranked number 2 in Asia for youth cyberbullying cases. And I don't know if you followed the news. In Malaysia, we have cases where people commit suicide because of cyberbullying online. Yeah. So this is what happens. And another very common misbehavior online is flaming and trolling. So this is having any hostile intention that causes harm to a person or an organization resulting from uninhabited behavior, and is characterized by words of profanity, obscenity, and insults. And I'm sure if you've joined any online community, you've noticed that sometimes people like to flame and troll for no reason. Okay, so trolling comes from a phishing term where users bait others with outrageous messages. So they want a response. They are intended to ignite a war of words through flaming or to disrupt an online community of which they might be a member. And of course, reasons for flaming and trolling can be very diverse, but some of the more common reasons for flaming and trolling can include to get attention, to cause trouble, or to disrupt the online groups. And of course, another very common occurrence in online communication is digital deception and online scam. So digital deceptive communication tends to occur more frequently in interactions where participants do not know each other and future interactions are unlikely to occur. So I'm not going to meet this person later on, so why bother to be honest? Or I can just fudge the truth, they'll never know. Okay, so again, catfishing is something that occurs in online interactions where users present alternate personal characteristics or pretend to be someone else completely to begin a romantic relationship. And I think you've seen a lot of popular media content that focuses on catfishing, that talks about how people lie to others by creating a different persona. Sometimes they gender bend, they're male, they pretend to be female, and things like that. So in Malaysia, types of common digital deceptions include online scams such as the Macau scam, social media scam, big pay scams, modeling scams, and employment scam. Sometimes people are promised a job, but in the end, they get involved into something that's criminal, or sometimes they invest their hard-earned money to someone they hardly know on the internet. So people lose money, people suffer financial difficulties, and people go through a lot of emotional problems when they are scammed online. And again, another problem that we talk about a lot when it comes to internet and social media is mis and disinformation and also hoaxes. So let's go through it. So disinformation are deliberate attempts to confuse or manipulate people with dishonest information. Hoaxes are created to persuade people that things that are unsupported by facts are true. So this happens a lot. For example, you create rumors that somebody died, or you create rumors that a vaccine is going to cause a lot of health problems in the long run, or things like that. So these are unsupported by facts. And of course, it can spread easily using social media. Okay, and these are some of the types of mis and disinformation that can occur. Yeah, so let's go through it and see if you're familiar. Sometimes headlines, visuals, or captions doesn't support the content. So this is clickbait or making false connection. They want to get you to read the content. They impose a sensational headline, and sometimes content are manipulated, sometimes it's misleading, sometimes it's fabricated, 100% false. And of course, sometimes what occurs is actually trying to promote a product, but it's disguised as a news story, right? And false content occurs when genuine content is shared with false contextual information. And sometimes it's meant as a joke, as a satire or parody, but it's untrue and has potential to fool people. And imposter content when genuine sources are impersonated. Propaganda occurs when it's used to manage attitudes, values, and knowledge. And errors can occur when established news organizations make mistakes while reporting. So we'll talk about this a little bit in the Islamic ethics, yeah. But sometimes people just present information without verifying whether it's true or not. And rumors and fake news can also occur online. So these are unverified information passed from person to person. It has negative connotations, often being dismissed as idle talk or gossip. It can be true or false or partly true. Rumors and fake news, though, can spread faster than true news. So this is interesting. In a recent study, it found that tweets containing falsehood reached 1,500 people on Twitter 6 times faster than truthful tweets. So even if you're trying to convey a truthful message, if it's not sensational, people don't share it. Whereas at the same time, if a news is not true but interesting and captures people's attention, this will be shared. This is likelier to be shared. So again, that's interesting coming from a communication perspective, because truthful information is less likely to be shared compared to dishonest information. So it's more novel because they contain new information that somebody hasn't seen before. So sometimes I'm guilty of this. I share, oh, I've never heard that before. That's interesting. But when I go back and look at the tweet or the post, wait, I didn't see to check whether this is true or not. It just sounds interesting, so I share it. And sometimes they elicit a different emotional reaction, with people expressing greater surprise and disgust. So this is clickbait lah, meant to evoke a response from your readers. So you want people to be surprised, you want them to be disgusted. It doesn't matter whether the emotion is positive or negative, but it's what's generating more retweets because people are triggered by it. Okay, it causes an emotional reaction, whether positive or negative. And according to Alex Kasprak, he's a fact-checking journalist at Snopes in Pasadena, California. If something sounds crazy stupid, you wouldn't think it would get that much traction, but those are the ones that go massively viral. So viral information are things that are sometimes crazy stupid that people don't check. And so again, we come to the final end of this presentation, which is to talk about some Islamic ethics in mediated communication. So there are some general Islamic ethics and principles when communicating online. So I've listed 6 here. I'm sure it's not exhaustive, but let's take a look at it and remind ourselves, reflect on our online practices and see if we can try to be better when communicating online. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that I think is very important to stress is the concept of tabayyun. Yeah? So this is verifying any information before posting it or sharing online. So tabayyun is an Arabic term that means verification or confirmation of the legitimacy of something. So verifying and checking first before sharing. And this is, I think, something that's been stressed many times in the Quran. In Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 6, O believers, if an evildoer brings you any news, verify it so that you do not harm people unknowingly, becoming regretful for what you have done. And anyone who has studied communication can verify this. Once you say something, you can't take it back. So communication has a consequence. So in this sense, reflect first before you share. So when receiving news, one should hesitate and not rush to spread any information. And the other thing that I think I need to remind myself as well as an online SNS user or online user or people who communicate online is be accountable for what you post and also ensure that honesty and accuracy of the information that you post. So again, this is emphasized many times in the Quran, in Surah Al-Isra, verse 36, and do not follow a thing about which you have no knowledge. Surely the ear, the eye, and the heart, each one of them shall be interrogated about. So maybe perhaps you think that is harmless, yeah, but it has a consequence. So being honest and accurate and truthful is something that is based on Al-Ghazali's interpretation of virtues and ethics. For instance, Siddiq, yeah, being truthful and honest, Siddiq, when providing information on social media, users should provide true and honest information and avoid misleading or dishonest content. So Muslim communications are also cautioned to avoid self-presentation on social media that veers into exaggeration and information manipulation. So sometimes we like to have fun with social media, right? We edit our profile, we maybe mention jobs that we've only been in for 2 weeks and things like that, just to look better in front of others. That's definitely not recommended in Islam. Yeah, so we've got to be careful about how we present ourselves online, even though we may think it's harmless. So be mindful and purposeful in your communication, emphasizing quality over quantity, and be accountable for what you post and share. And I think right now Malaysia is trying to be more responsible with social media use. They've recently introduced a new licensing for social media platforms. So any social media platforms with, I think, more than 8 million users are required to apply for a license. Okay, so this would involve big social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and definitely YouTube. So again, what does this entail? They have to be responsible for social media users' behaviors. So anything that's inflammatory, racist, defamatory, or illegal should be monitored and managed. Okay, so I think this has important implications for social media platforms. They have to be more responsible for what their users post. And again, one of the things that we talk about a lot is when it comes to social media, it's basically a lot of people related to entertainment. And of course, nobody's going to fault you for trying to entertain yourself for a couple of hours just to, sometimes you are bored or you want to release your emotions, so you watch a video. At the same time, these are things that perhaps are not a productive use of your time, yeah? And of course, when it comes to immoral behaviors such as not covering the aura, free mixing between genders, and consuming illegal materials, this should not be captured publicized, uploaded, or shared publicly on social media accounts, be it of yourself or of other people. Sometimes we don't do these behaviors, but we see our friend or somebody we know, and then we reshare or retweet or repost. So this is going against Islamic notions of protecting privacy. Yeah? So protect the privacy of others when using social media by not sharing posts that are embarrassing or face threatening. And sometimes I think because of the nature of the internet, we are I think prone to sharing information because we feel that, oh, it's what everybody does. So this is a social norm, yeah. But sometimes we don't think about the privacy of others. For example, we put pictures of children, they are barely dressed, or we think it's cute, we share it. So sometimes parents are guilty of this. They don't think about, you post baby pictures of your children. Again, this is privacy. So you should ask for permission, or maybe edit the photo, or not share it at all if it's something that's embarrassing or inappropriate. So this again is highlighted in the Quran, Surah An-Nur, verse 19. It highlights the injunction of spreading lewdness, regardless of the reason, where Allah says, surely those who like that lewdness spreads among the believers, for them there is painful punishment in the world and the hereafter. Allah knows and you don't know. So be careful of what you share. And of course, a lot of current research on social media is talking about fear of missing out, which is what occurs with a lot of people. They feel left out if they don't share or post or do things that other people do. And again, this is not a good thing. Okay, so try to avoid showing off and try to not be influenced by fear of missing out, and avoid highlighting others' mistake on social media by sharing, commenting. Social media users should not comment on others' public behaviors, and they should try their best to conceal the mistake of others. So this is in a hadith narrated by Abu Dawud. Abdullah bin Umar reported the Prophet ﷺ as saying, a Muslim is a Muslim's brother. He does not wrong him or abandon him. So if anyone cares for his brother's needs, Allah will care for his need. If anyone removes a Muslim's anxiety, Allah will remove from him on account of it one of the anxieties of the day of resurrection. And if anyone conceals a person's fault or Muslim's fault, Allah will conceal his fault on the day of the resurrection. So this highlights the importance of taking care of other people's faiths. So in intercultural communication, we call it protecting not only your face, but mutual face and other people's face. So try not to highlight people's mistakes on social media. And of course, when it comes to social media, with any other thing, it has to be used moderately. So use it wisely. And again, research has been looking into how people engage in excessive social media use, which has led to problematic social media use. So we call it problematic internet or social media use, yeah? And excessive use of social media and the internet, especially content that is harmful or wasteful, should be avoided. So again, these are important reminders for parents. They should monitor their children's online activities and provide alternatives so the children can engage in more productive activities during the children's free time. So in Surah Al-Mu'minun, verses 1 to 3, it emphasizes the need to stay away from vain activities, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, success is really attained by the believers who concentrate their attention in humbleness when offering salah or prayers, and who keep themselves away from vain things. So al-lagwi is a concept of things that are harmful or wasteful that should be avoided. Yeah. And again, some Western countries have realized the extent of the issue of the problematic social media use, social media addiction, and things like that. And they've moved on to try to actually manage this problem by banning social media platforms for younger users. Yeah. So this has recently happened in Australia, where they passed a social media ban for children under the age of 16. They cannot use Instagram, X, Snapchat, or others. And tech giants faces fines of up to 49.5 million for non-compliance. And of course, not everyone's happy about it. Parents support it because they know that sometimes social media use can lead to negative consequences, like I mentioned earlier, such as cyberbullying or flaming and trolling. And it can lead to depression, anxiety when it comes to social media use, and even FOMO. Yeah? But child rights group has opposed this law, saying that it's a right of children to use social media, but parents just have to manage. But sometimes it's not easy to manage, yeah? Okay, and of course, children are very smart nowadays. They may use it without your permission, or they find a way to use it even though you have banned it in your household. So again, when it comes to social media use, flaming and trolling is definitely counterproductive. So try to communicate harmoniously and maintain good relationship with others. Harsh language, dishonest, impolite, or contentious communication, and profanity, which are often used in flaming and trolling, should be avoided on all online platforms. So don't say something to someone in real life that, online, that you would not say to them in real life. So online and offline should be the same, right? So again, in Surah Al-Isra, Allah mentions, tell my servants that they should speak about what is best. Surely Satan creates discord among them. Indeed, Satan is an open enemy to mankind. So again, some general guidelines that Islamic ethics have provided. SNS users should use words that are honest and true, good and beneficial, honorable, straightforward but effective, and easily accepted by others. So these principles can be applied generally in online communication. So don't post something that's not true. Only share something that's beneficial. Be honorable in your words. Don't make fun of people. Be straight and effective. And make sure you share something that can be accepted by others. So don't use words that are emotionally triggering or share something viral simply because it's something that is fun. So check before sharing, verify before posting. So just to conclude, social media is a powerful tool to connect with others. However, due to its anonymous nature and information overload, social media users can sometimes lead to online misbehaviors. So Islam has provided a beautiful and comprehensive guideline for online social interactions. For example, the concept of tabayyun can be practiced where you verify information with right sources or authorities before sharing it online. You preserve modesty and privacy in online interactions, so don't post pictures without someone else's permission, and use the appropriate language when communicating online. So that's it for my presentation today. I'm going to stop sharing and look at the chat box. Again, if you have any questions, you can forward it online. So from Nurul Husna, many people comment online without considering how their words might affect others. So this is the reason I deactivate all of my social media account 5 years ago. I applaud you for that. Definitely, that is very true because people don't consider the consequences of communicating online simply because it's anonymous or they don't consider the effect of someone else. So I think it's good to take a digital detox for a short while, or even if you want to deactivate your social media accounts. Definitely in today's world, although that's something that maybe not everyone does, this can be a good way to just detox and get away from the online communication. Okay, are there any questions? You can type in the chat box or comment. Personally, myself, I'm very active on social media, but sometimes I'm amazed by the information that is exchanged online. People don't consider the truthfulness. They just want to go viral, and they share things without verifying. And sometimes it's scary because when it comes to I think health communication, a lot of things are shared online as miracle cures without thinking about whether it's true or not, or without doing any research. And you have to consider also the expertise of the person sharing the information. Is it from verifiable information? Is it from a proper health practitioners? So in Malaysia, a lot of medical doctors are now becoming health influencers because they are very concerned about the information that's shared online, which is without verification. Okay, since
Any participant who have question, you can raise up your hand so that you can direct answer with doctor. Direct question, not direct direct question with doctor. You can raise up your hand so that I can unmute for you guys who want to have a question. Because we mute all that I cannot vertical. It's not difficult a little bit. So if you have question, just raise up your hand.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha, for your comments. I hope it has been beneficial to all. And I think sometimes we take online communication for granted. We don't think about the consequences. I think this is especially true for younger adults. Yes, Ahmad Lubis, you have a question? I can't hear you. I think, Bijara, can you unmute?
Yes. Let me unmute. Okay, Dr. Ahmad, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank
We
you
can
very
hear
much.
you.
Yeah, it's very nice presentation and comprehensive in terms of communications. I just like to ask whether you have a special book for the materials that you have really explained here. I think this is various aspects should be in one book, especially or several different book sources. This is interesting for people taking the communication science. That's why my question is: there any, a special book covering all these materials? And then the second one says salam to your father. I met your father
Okay.
many times. You are
Okay.
from Indonesia, from Jakarta. During
Yes,
Habibie's
yes.
time, on that time, he came to
Okay.
Jakarta many times. Yeah. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad Lubis, for your comment. Inshallah, my team and I, we are planning to produce a textbook on Islamic communication. So part of the chapter includes the materials that I've presented today, and other chapters also includes various aspects of communication, such as organizational communication, interpersonal communication, and also how people use communication in the online context. I will send my salam, your salam to my father. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, is it possible to have cooperation with you because you are from the Indonesian Al Azhar University in Jakarta,
Sure.
in the Masjid Agung Al Azhar, Buya Hamka. Is it possible to have collaboration with your? You're from IIUM, right?
Yes, I'm from IIUM.
Especially
I've
for the.
written, yeah. Let me post my email here. You can email me later and we can talk about it. Definitely, as a department, we do look forward to collaboration with other researchers from other universities. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad Lubis.
Yeah.
Malia, I'm not an expert on online scam, but I think there's a couple of things that you need to be careful of when it comes to communication online. For example, don't just simply click any link that's forwarded to you. For example, a lot of phishing scams start with that, right? They send you a link, they ask you to call, and then you reveal information that's personal. So never ever expose your online banking account, for example, to someone else. A bank would never send you a message just like that. And if you click a link, they can install things that tracks your username and password, and you can lose a lot of money through that way. So I think you need to be careful. And I think they've gotten very sophisticated now with the scams online. Yeah, even impersonating someone you ought to know in real life. They hack someone else's phone and then they ask money. This has happened a couple of times to me as well, where an acquaintance texts me and say, "Can you send me money?" So actually, their phone has been hacked. So be careful when it comes to people messaging you suddenly or sending you links that you should not click. So I think I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, I do have one question, Dr. Aisha.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Regarding these scammers and things like that, now has the police been actively involved? You know, I have friends who have been scammed, and who do they go to? You know, because they want to go to somebody, but they are not sure who they can go to. So, is there something, or is there anything that you can provide us with that kind of information?
Thank you. I think PDRM does work closely. For example, a colleague of mine who presented a paper on scamming online is working with the PDRM on such issues. I think the important thing is awareness. So in terms of scam literacy, a lot of people don't know what they should be doing. But again, you should lodge a report with MCMC or with the police if you suspect any criminal activities have been taken. But yes, I think they are working on it with a lot of researchers, and we're trying to come up with policies that will monitor such activities. Again, unfortunately, in Malaysia, scam is very, very common. You read news every now and then. People, retirees, they lose money because they've given money to people they don't know and things like that. So again, awareness is very important, especially if you have elderly parents who don't realize what they click and who they talk to. Sometimes it's a matter of being literate with the technology itself. You don't know who you're talking to or what you're clicking and things like that. So I think it's very important to create awareness.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha.
Thank you, Dr. Malia. So I
Thank you.
guess that's my time. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention. I really enjoyed giving this lecture, and I hope to see you again in the future. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll hand over to
Waalaikumsalam.
Sister Jaria.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your wonderful sharing today. I hope all the participants can benefit from your sharing. Thank you, Doctor, and inshallah we will see you again in the next session, inshallah. So now we have break time. Inshallah, we will come back at 11. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Pak Ahmad, sihat?
Hello.
Pak Ahmad, you hear me?
Which Ahmad?
Pak Ahmad Lubis.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, can you resend the email of Tengku Siti?
Dr.
I
Tengku.
cannot.
Okay.
Maybe later.
She already left, maybe?
Yeah.
She already left. Inshallah, we will check that on her email, and we will put in the group, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Inshallah, we'll send it direct to you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful materials. How are you, Pak Habib Hussein? So you're taking rest, right?
If you have if you want to communicate, you can communicate, because this is the break time. Brother Ediliran, sorry brother, just now maybe she doesn't. Sorry, I don't see your raise up hand just now, but it's unfortunately she's also in rush. That's why she left now. Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you, Doctor?
So far, so good. Still fine. In
Alhamdulillah.
my first session.
Yeah, your first session today. We heard from Dr. Zaki
Zaki.
from the first weeks until 8 weeks. But
Yeah.
include another doctor also during that time. But mostly his presentation from the beginning.
Correct. They are more to political thought, political theory.
Yeah, Doctor. Doctor, can you try to test your screen?
Yeah, sure. Luckily, it's Zoom. I'm more used to Zoom rather than Google.
Yeah, we can try it.
Try to move around.
Yeah.
Can you see
Can you make it a full screen?
full screen? Okay. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see that I'm moving around, right? The screen.
Yes, sure.
That's good.
Okay, Doctor, because this is the first week for you. So, to all participants, let me start the second session, which will represent regarding the political science, inshallah. So, let me start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before that, let me introduce a bit about the Dr. Lau Zhe We. Correct, Doctor? I spell your name.
Correct.
Yeah. He is an assistant professor of the political science in the Department of Political Science at the International Islamic University, Malaysia. His PhD in political science, Doctor of Philosophy from University of Bristol. His bachelor's and master's degree of social science, political science, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM. He's officially joined IIUM as assistant professor on October 2018. Prior to his, he was an academic trainee attached to IIUM, sponsored to pursue his PhD in politics in University of Bristol before he furthering his PhD study. He had teaching experience in a few private higher education institutes. Besides the course that he had taught, his main research area includes, but not limited to, Malaysian politics only, electoral study, Malaysian Chinese study, and Hong Kong politics. He was also a SUSI scholar in years 2019, sponsored by the Department of State, United States. His research interests cover comparative politics, ethnic politics, and electoral studies. With that, we will listen from his lectures regarding the topic on comparative politics system. With that, فليتفضل مأجورة دكتور.
All right. Good morning. I'm Lau, as introduced by our moderator before this. So my class usually I'll handle in a casual way. So feel free to interrupt, feel free to jump in if you have any questions or anything to clarify. I'm okay with that. Feel free to come in. All right, so what I'm going to cover today for comparative political system will be, I give a general idea first. What is comparative politics? Followed by, I'll do comparison in terms of the basic political system in the world. Because I realized that I cannot cover everything. So therefore, I pick a few that is commonly practiced in the world. And since it is a triple IT program, I'll try to include another theocracy, Islamic theocracy state for this lecture. All right. So we go to the beginning first about the definition and scope. So the very simple question is that what is comparative politics? So generally, for example, in IIUM, we have 4 specializations within the department. Yeah, although we are not rigidly disintegrate ourselves or not rigidly separate ourselves. But in general, we agreed that we offer 4 specializations. One is international relations. That specialization usually will deal with a lot of external issue of the country. For example, diplomatic relations, for example, war studies, and so on. Second one is more to political theory or political thought, just like what happened in previous week, where we have our colleagues who talk about political theory, political thought, the philosophy of it. So that will be the second specializations. Third one is about public administrations. Generally, it will deal with internal administrations of the country. For example, government budget, bureaucracy, how government run the day-to-day operations, and so on. So today for comparative politics, basically we're going to study about the structural system within the country itself. Within the country, meaning, for example, we talk about how to choose the leader of the country, president, prime minister, how the election function in the country, how power is being utilized in the country. So these are among the scope for comparative politics. And usually when we talk about comparative politics, we are comparing from one country to at least another country in terms of their domestic political structure. All right. So coming back to the slide, comparative politics basically examining the political realities of the world, and it is systematically studies on the comparison between different cases, just like what I mentioned just now, and mainly focuses on the political system within the country. Later on, we're going to go into more detail about what is political system. Now, one interesting thing about comparative politics is that when we want to build the most common way how we utilize theory is we have existing theory, and we'll try to use those existing theory to explain on the current scenario or the scenario of the cases that we want to study. When we talk about grounded theory, it is the reverse, meaning we are going to come up with a general principle or general framework on how situations can happen. Or at a higher scale, we can even invent a new theory. But the thing is, how to invent a new theory? We need to have enough empirical data. So this is one of the way on how to get the data through grounded theory. We collect a lot of different elements, different happenings, different incidents within different countries, different system, and we look at the similarities, and from there we derive a general theory. All right, that's why we talk about comparative politics. Now, like what we said just now, we are doing comparisons between countries to country, between state to state, and so on. The thing is, how to compare? For example, we say that, okay, now we want to categorize country based on their democratic level, meaning which country is democratic country, which country they are not democratic. But the thing is, what is democracy? Different people have different definition. Even if you talk about scholars, different scholars draw the line at a different angle. So how to do it? So therefore, when we want to do classifications, it is very important that we must have clear criteria. What do we want within the classifications? And a good classifications is a classification where the category that you create will be mutually exclusive. Meaning, if you put a category into category A, B, C, so this state should fall in which category? A good classification is this state can only fall in category A or B or C. It wouldn't be like, well, this state can be like, category A, okay, seems to be okay. Category B seems to be okay. It is not a good classification because it seems to be overlap. All right. So we emphasize on, if possible, to be mutually exclusive, and they have jointly exhaustive, meaning there's a linkage from one to another. Let's say we talk about democracy, meaning category A is the most democratic country. Category B is less democratic country. Category C is even less democratic. So at least we can see the continuity over there. All right, this is about a good way of classification. Now, interesting part will be the third one. Political phenomenon is often difficult to classify. It is unlike rigidly hard facts issue where easy for you to categorize in the sense of black is black, white is white. But when we talk about political phenomenon, right, it is not that easy in the sense of there are a lot of ambiguous, a lot of gray area exists. So what we need to do now is, what is the element, what is the most important element for us to consider? Let's say there are three ways, example of three ways on how we can advise on the classifications. We talk about value judgment, meaning what are the value that you want to consider? For example, you talk about democracy. Democracy is so wide, so many things within democracy. And within democracy itself, the model itself, it can be contradicted to a certain extent. So what is the part or what is the value that we want to consider? We can use that. Or we highlight on certain aspect only. We want to measure the democratic level of a state. And we don't want to measure the whole idea of democracy because we know that it's too huge, it's too complicated. We just want certain element. For example, we just want to focus on election. Can? Meaning we ignore human rights, we ignore freedom, we ignore good governance, we ignore everything. We just focus on election. Yeah, it's workable as well. That's why we say that classifications, what is the thing that we want? Third one is the purpose. All right. I believe maybe many of us familiar with Malaysian composition in terms of our demography, ethnicity. In Malaysian, generally, we have Malay, Chinese, and Indian. So when we talk about classifications in terms of ethnicity, the general way will be, okay, we categorize as Malay, Chinese, Indian. At least these three categories. Or sometimes the fourth is like others. For my PhD thesis, I categorize it into two categories only. Malay, non-Malay. Why? Come back to the third point, purpose. Because my purpose is going to study about the ethnicizations of politics within the Malay political circle or within the Malay ethnic politics and within the non-Malay ethnic politics. Therefore, I categorize it into only two categories. So why I did so? Because of the purpose of my study. All right. So these are among the ideas how to do classifications. Why I come about this part is because of this slide. Now, democratic index. We often see that we can see a lot of index from time to time. For example, you can see democratic index. For example, every year, for example, in Malaysia, we're going to see like perceptions of media freedom by certain institute, or for example, in university level, we often seen about a ranking of the university. So which university rank first, rank second, and so on. So how do they measure? Now, very often, we as academics, we assume that that index is produced in an honest way, produced in a transparent way. So when we don't question about the governance of it, we don't question about the honesty of the result, usually we question about the methodology of it or the elements of it. Meaning, how do you come about the classifications? Like for example, in this report by EIU, the first sentence is a sentence that I like to show with my students. With political scientists unable to develop and agree a single detailed classifications of political system, it has been left to non-academic world to step into the breach. Why academics so difficult to come up with the classifications? The reason, like what I said just now, it's too wide. How to measure democracy is too wide, and nobody can claim that their definitions is a perfect version. You know, in academic world, right, we have to be able to convince others that our model is the one of the perfect model. So at the end of the day, all right, so how it functions is that we have EIU, another non-academic institution, is more to like think tank, more to like the economist, the magazine. They do classifications based on the criteria below, on how they measure democratic level of a country. Like from here, you can see, if you can see my cursor, I'm moving around. They look at the protections of basic political freedom, the fairness of elections, security of voters, election turnout, freedom of political parties, independence of judiciary, media, and so on. So these are the criteria that they use. Do you agree? Well, you can disagree. Maybe you can say that, well, when we talk about democracy, we have more elements that we should consider. Or you can also argue that when we talk about democracy, maybe fairness of, okay, maybe security of voters is not an issue, so we should not consider. Therefore, when you have less or more elements to consider the index, the ranking, the points given will be different. All right. So this is just an example on democratic index. So this is how the EIU categorized over it. In a general position, general situations, no matter what elements, as long as it's a conventional, it's a decent elements, you wouldn't run away too much. You wouldn't like, okay, for example here, Norway ranked as number 1, or the point is the highest, 9.93. When you use another system, they wouldn't drop too badly into like 5 or 6 out of 10. All right. Usually we have some deviations because of the different elements. So these are just for you to have an overlook on how EIU categorize the country. All right. Next, I'm moving into the comparisons of the basic political system in the world. All right. So these are among the 3 things that I choose, 3 comparisons: monarchy versus republic, parliamentary versus presidential, and federal versus unitary. When you roughly know about the elements of this system, it'll be very easy for you. For example, when you Google a country, you have no idea about what the country is all about. You Google the country, even you talk about Wikipedia, okay, a not so academically sanctioned source. When you see the word presidential, right, assuming it's a common country practicing the generic or the conventional version of presidential, by having the word, you roughly can know what are the major elements within a country. All right. Then you know that, okay, you have a president. You wouldn't have like a monarch. You wouldn't have a king, a sultan, whoever over there. When you talk about federal, for example, you saw the word federalism in the country, then you roughly know that it is a sharing of power. It wouldn't be one place like the central government dominate everything. All right. That's why today we're going to talk about roughly about the comparison. First, we talk about monarchy versus republic. So in a simple term, when you talk about monarchy state, it's referring to state where you have a monarch over there. All right. Of course, the word monarch depends on the country. Different country using different terms. In Malaysian, in Brunei, we are using the word sultan to represent the monarch. In Japan, they use emperor. In Saudi, in England, they use the word king. In Middle Eastern countries, some of them, they use the word sheikh and so on. It doesn't matter because it comes to the simple summary is that these are considered as a monarch. All right. Now, when we talk about monarchy, it can be divided into absolute and constitution. Absolute monarchy, we don't really have many in the world nowadays. If we talk about constitutional monarchy, we only left with lower double digits. All right. Absolute monarchy, example in a country like Brunei, Saudi Arabia, and so on, where the leader, the monarch itself, they have absolute power in terms of determining the administration of the country. And the rulers, basically, they are coming from the royal bloods. All right. Unlike constitutional monarchy, yeah, they are still coming from the royal bloods, meaning you wouldn't be monarchs out of sudden because of your father, because of your family member is a monarch, therefore you become a monarch. However, they do not have absolute power onto the daily administrations of the country. For constitutional monarchy, for example, like Malaysians, Japan, United Kingdom, and theoretically even to Thailand and so on. All right. So meaning, when you talk about constitutional monarchy, they are guided by the constitution itself. Meaning, yes, for example, in the context of Malaysia, yes, the king is the highest person in Malaysia. When you talk about protocol, talk about priority or importance of the list of people in Malaysia, the king will rank number 1. But the king cannot do anything as he wish. He has to follow back the constitution. For example, the king entrusted to appoint a prime minister. So how to appoint? Can the king suddenly say, okay, I feel that I want to appoint Dr. Lau as the prime minister? Can he? Cannot, because I must be a member of lower house, meaning I need to win an election first. Only I'm qualified. Can he say, oh, I don't follow the rules, I straight away, I like Dr. Lau, I just appoint him? Can he? No, he can't. But when we talk about absolute monarchy, they can, because they have their own the power in terms of the administrations. Therefore, when we talk about constitutional monarchy, later compared with the presidential later, there's sort of like an extra layer of check and balance in general. All right. The reason is for monarchical system, for constitutional monarchy, the monarch itself will act as the head of state, meaning you are the leader of the country, but you hold all the power. Like the second last point, executive power is carried out in the name of the king, meaning you hold all the power technically with you as a constitutional monarch. But you will delegate the power to the commoner, meaning the prime minister, for their executions. If you realize, for example, like in Malaysian context, if you realize you may receive some official letter from the government and so on, then the first sentence at the envelope, in general, they'll use Malay word. They write something like Urusan Seri Paduka Baginda. English translation, something like His Majesty business or His Majesty matters or something like that. All right. Why? I mean, you never deal with the palace, you never deal with the monarch. Why you receive a letter from the king? The thing is, you are dealing with the government, and the government is exercising the power in the name of the king because the king holds the power. That's why this comes to the third last point, is that the monarch in constitutional monarchy can act as an extra check and balance. Of course, to which level the monarch will act in that way depends on to what extent the monarch will interfere into the administration of the country. And this is something that I love to share with my students, a comparison in the reality world. I use 3 countries as example: Thailand, United Kingdom, and especially under Queen Elizabeth, and Malaysian context. When we talk about UK under Queen Elizabeth as a monarch last time, when she first became the queen, when she was young, she pledged that she would not interfere into the administrations of the country. She pledged it. Good or bad? Well, depends on how you look at it. I give you an example. UK, years back, they have an issue of Brexit, and a lot of prime minister collapsed because of Brexit. So among the final prime minister to deal with Brexit will be Boris Johnson. If you know Boris Johnson, the one with his hair a bit messy. Now, he is inclined to deal with European Union directly. But the thing is, according to UK parliamentary system, according to UK conventional practice, he must get permission or must get decision from the parliament. But when you can see from UK parliament, it was so messy because they cannot come out with the decision, even after a few prime minister. So one of the simplest way for him is he put the parliament to recess, and he will deal with European Union in the name of prime minister. How to put parliament in recess is that get the permission from the queen. Now, political circuit, by then they know that you cannot decide on your own as a prime minister, although you have certain provision to allow it. But the more gentleman way is you deal it in the parliament. But the thing is, he know that to deal in the parliament politically, in terms of strategy, is quite difficult. So he asked for recess. Go to have an audience with the queen, ask for permission to go on recess for the parliament. Need to get permission from the queen first. The situation, like I said just now, is because he shouldn't do it in that way, in a gentleman way. He should leave into parliament. But the queen position was, I pledged that I wouldn't interfere anything in politics. Whatever the prime minister proposed, whatever any prime minister requests, I'll consent to it. I wouldn't interfere. So she consented to it directly. No interference. Is it a good way? It may not be. Because the queen, if she were to act in an extra layer, she were to interfere a little bit, and she didn't consent to it, then the case wouldn't need to go to the judiciary, to the courts. So, but if you see that, well, it is good for the monarch to act, to interfere whenever it's necessary. All right. Unlike a puppet monarch where you are there just as a symbolic. Then we look at the example of, for example, in Thailand or in a few countries where the interference degree is higher for the country. Is it a good thing? It may not be good as well. Therefore, this is a very interesting question that we are still debating on, to what extent or what is the role for the monarch. This is coming to the practical world. All right. But when we talk about theoretically, the role of the monarch in a constitutional monarchy should be as a symbolic, should be as a ceremonial figure. All right. Now, next one, we talk about republic. Like what I mentioned just now, when we talk about monarchy system, whether absolute or constitution, you have the monarch, the royalty blood, as the head of the state. And for constitutional monarchy, basically as a head of state, not as a head of government. But for republican system, they act as both head of state and head of government. Meaning, for example, when I talk about a country with a monarch, for example, I talk about even like in Malaysia, when you get some awards from the head of state, like the medal, you know, so the monarch will give it to you. When I talk about republic country, it will be the president who give it to you because they are the head of state. At the same time, they are the head of government. They play two roles, meaning there's no anybody above them anymore. All right? And most countries in the world today, they are practicing this system, republican system, where there's president and the president is the highest person of the country. All right. Make it clear one thing, that republic country, not necessarily they have to practice presidential system. We have a lot of country, they are practicing parliamentary system, but they're having a president. Later on, we go into more details. What's the difference between that? Example, Singapore. They are practicing parliamentary system, just like Malaysian, actually almost the same as Malaysian, but they don't have a monarch. So they replace it with a president. Similar with India, they don't have a monarch over there, but they have a president to fill in the position similar as the monarch. All right. So for this country, we call it as republic. So in a simple term, simple comparison is monarchy, country with royalty blood. Republic, you have commoner to be there. All right. And when we talk about presidential system or republic presidential system, we can divide it into executive president, like what happened in United States, what happened in Indonesian, the Philippines, and a lot of countries in the world. Executive president, meaning the president is really the head of state and head of government. We also have a nominal president. Nominal president meaning you are there just as a name, symbolically. All right. Your role basically almost similar as a monarch, just that you are not royalty blood. Okay, whether you are appointed or whether you are elected depends on the country. All right. Now, the next comparison we're going to do is about presidential versus parliamentary. When we talk about presidential democracy, right, we are referring to executive president, meaning the president is a head of state and head of government at the same time. And for this kind of system, in general, most of them will be going through election, direct elections. Definitely not all, but most of it, almost all of it, but not all, will be going through direct elections. Therefore, you realize that when you look at presidential election for any country, the votes total up, the tally of the votes will become up to millions or tens of millions. All right. In Taiwan case, they have about 30 plus million per side, meaning total up about 70, 80 million votes. In Indonesian, similar case. In France, similar case, you are up to tens of millions. All right. So this is what I call direct election, meaning one person, one vote. Whoever get the most votes by head count, you win the elections. Of course, there are some special country. That's why what I said at the beginning. Things that we discussed today is a general principle for a country practicing conventional or traditional or the ideal version. But they may have some kind of special versions. Like in United States, their president is elected in an electoral college system. That's why you can only see total of 538 votes in total. All right. Next is about parliamentary democracy. It is the reverse. We talk about presidential elections, direct election, meaning you as a voter, you can directly elect who you want to be the president. Over here, parliamentary democracy, you wouldn't know who is your head of state, head of government. Head of state is fixed, parliamentary system. Your head of state is either a monarch, meaning the royalty, or a president, symbolic president, like India and Singapore case. Who is going to be the leader of your government, head of government? You wouldn't know. I mean, practically you'll know roughly, you can guess. But theoretically, you wouldn't know. Can you decide? You cannot decide. There's no way for you to decide. Why? Now, in a parliamentary democracy, who you're going to vote for is your member of parliament. All right? You're going to vote for your member of parliament. After you voted for all the member of parliament, they'll gather in the parliament and they'll choose among themselves who is going to be the prime minister. They'll choose among themselves. I'm the voter. Can I say, they choose ABC as a prime minister? Can I say, no, I don't want ABC. I want DEF as my prime minister. Can I? No, you can't. Under parliamentary system. Because parliamentary system, you voted for the member of parliament and they will decide on your behalf. That's why I said theoretically you wouldn't know. But why I said practically you know? Well, usually whichever party that win the most votes, usually the leader of the party will be the prime minister. All right. That's why I said practically, roughly you can guess, but theoretically you wouldn't know. Can they suddenly appoint some weird or special people as a prime minister? Let's say I contested a parliament seat in Malaysia as an independent candidate. I win. I have no political party. I have no political inclinations. I'm on my own as an independent candidate. Don't know for what reasons. I won the election. I win the elections, meaning I'm a member of parliament. But I'm not attached to any political parties. I go to parliament. Oh, there are so many big parties over there. Party A, Party B, Party C, so many big parties over there. Is it possible for me to be prime minister? Legally, constitutionally? Yes. As long as they say that, oh, we agree that Party A, Party B, Party C, we don't want to be prime minister. We appoint Lau as a prime minister. Can they? Can. Therefore, over here, we say that it is undecided. And the term for prime minister also is not that secure compared to presidential. Why? Prime minister, who appoint a prime minister? Member of parliament among themselves. This also means that anytime they can bring down the prime minister. As long as the member of parliament, more than half of them say that I have no confidence and to bring down the prime minister, yes, they can fill in a motion, bring down, just like that. Do they need a reason? Most of the country, they don't need a reason. All right. Germany may be a special case a little bit. Germany version is that, no, not to say that you cannot bring down, but they call constructive motion of no confidence. You can bring down a prime minister, a sitting prime minister, but you must have a replacement. Meaning, if A is brought down, B will be the prime minister. You already name who is going to be the replacement. But for most of the countries, including Malaysia, for those who are familiar in Malaysian politics, over the past few years, it's quite easy to bring down a prime minister because as long as you have more than half people disagree, you can bring him down. But the thing is, you want to nominate another person to be prime minister, can you secure another more than half? That's why for most of the country, they don't have the system like in Germany, meaning they may have a vacuum. All right? But the different thing for presidential is it's not that easy to bring down a president. Why? Who elect or who elect the president? It is the people itself. It is the voters, the commoner, we. All right? So the Congress or the Parliament, whatever name they name it, you cannot directly override the voice of the people because you are not the one who choose, but it is the people who choose. So you cannot bring down the president just like the parliamentary system. But of course, they have their mechanism. It's called impeachment. To cut the story short, impeachment is you bring a motion in their parliament or congress and because of some wrongdoings, it must be a wrongdoing by the president. Therefore, you scrutinize the president and impeach the president, whether he's guilty or not. If he's guilty, then he can be brought down. Happened before in South Korea, very often actually in South Korea. And in US, they tried a few times, but not really successful, and so on. All right. Okay, I think if anyone have questions, feel free. You can just switch on your mic and jump in so that I don't need to reread the chat box again. All right. So done covering for this part. We cover for comparison, monarchy versus republic, parliamentary versus presidential. Now we go to this part, federal versus unitary. All right. At least you can have a rough idea how the political system in the world works. Now, when you talk about academically, there are three systems, federal, unitary, and confederations. Confederation, I put it aside. Later, I tell you why I put it aside. So today, we only can see federal system, or we call federalism, and unitary. The difference between these two is that concentrations of power. That's the most important point. For federalisms, it is about a system where you share power between federal government and state government. Meaning, the constitution will mention ABC is the power for the federal government. DEF is the power for the state government. Can the federal government interfere into the state government affair? We talk about generic first. We don't talk about the technicalities first. General principle is cannot. Can the state interfere into the federal matters? General principle is cannot. So they're separate. They're sharing of power. All right. Example countries, for example, in Malaysia, in US. Of course, I don't really like to use Malaysia as an example because in practice, it is not so ideal in terms of sharing power. Not like 50%, 50%. We talk about US, it's sort of, some power allocated to federal government and some power allocated with the state government. All right. For example, state government, actually in US, they're quite powerful in the terms of education is under them, health is under them, a lot of things is under them. If you heard about that, in US, certain state they have death penalty. Certain state they don't have death penalty. Why within a country you have two different systems? Because that power is at the state level. Where at the state level, every state can have different way. Right? Unitary is where the power concentrated in the hand of the central government. And the central government will delegate the power to the lower tier of government, like provincial government. Meaning, we go back to federal first. Federal government power derived from their constitution. State government derived from the constitution. Meaning, their bigger boss, their higher superior will be the constitution. But for unitary system, you're at the lower tier, for example, provincial level. Who gives you the power? It's not the constitution. It is the central government. So most of the power actually concentrated in the hand of the central government. Now, from here you can see sharing power in the hand of central government. Central have more power. So by logic, there may be another system where more power at the hand of state. All right, you can see the difference. Federal sharing, unitary more power at the central. Another system we call confederations, more power at the state level. Try to think it logically. Do you think it can work when you have more power at the state level? When we talk about more power at the central level, meaning the central will control the military, let's say. State and state, provincial and provincial, they wouldn't fight. Why? There's no military for them to fight because central more powerful. When we talk about confederations, just like in the ancient Greek era, state or the region itself, they are more powerful. They have military, they have everything. State more powerful than federal or central government. Do you think central government can control them well? They can't. State just say that, why I should listen to you? I have more power than you. Why should I listen? When the central government cannot control the state government, there's no point to have the central government anymore. That's why confederations cannot sustain, cannot survive. Because each of the state, if they fight among one another, the higher tier of government, meaning the central government, cannot control. So what's the point? All right. So in current context, most of the country in the world practicing unitary. So federalism only about 24 countries. If you realize, most of the academic writing, right, they wouldn't give a definite word. They'll give the word like around, estimate, and so on. Why? Going back to our first and second slide, because of how you're going to measure it, how you're going to classify it. Federalism, there may be some country like seems to be a federal country, seems not to be federal country. So how to classify it? Therefore, different scholars classify it differently. All right? Okay, I still have time. So I'm going into one interesting section. Is about theocracy state. All right. Theocracy state meaning a country where it is ruled by religious scholar or religious leader. All right. Depends on the scholar, like what I said just now. Not many scholars love to have a special category for theocracy state. Furthermore, there are not many theocracy states in the world nowadays. All right. When we talk about Islamic theocracy state, if you want to have that category, the nearest country I'll consider as Iran. What are the main elements for theocracy state? Number one, the leader will be a religious leader. All right. Government by religious leader, therefore it's rare. Not many countries you can see it. And most Muslim countries in the world, they're typically separate religious and civil leadership. No matter whether you call yourself as an Islamic state or whether you implement Hudu law or not, most of them, they still practice a high degree of secular administrations or secular legal system. All right. Yes, to a large extent, they Islamize the system, but a lot of them, they're still having a high degree of non-Islamic element within the country. That's why here said, since the end of Taliban rule in Afghanistan, 2001, a more nearer model of theocratic state or Islamic theocratic state will be Iran. Why Iran can be considered as the nearest one? Number one, it is led by an Islamic leader, all right, by a religious leader. Yes, at the same time, they are still ruled by a lot of secular officers. You cannot expect the whole governmental system, executive system, meaning the prime minister or the leaders, the cabinet members, even the administrators, the bureaucrats, all of them are religious leaders. You cannot afford to have so many. So a lot of the government officers or even government leaders, they may be secular. Secular in the sense of they are not having Islamic background and so on. But the final decision-making authority still lies with the highest leader. All right. For example, in Iran, it still lies with Ayatollah. Meaning, you guys can have all the rulings, you guys can have all the decisions. At the end of the day, they'll still make sure that, yes, this system, this ruling, this decision, this policy is in line with Islamic. So at the bottom, last few points is just about the technicalities and how it works. Actually, for those who's familiar with Malaysian political system, academic sharing, so I just give a exact example so that I can look it earlier, clearer. Furthermore, it's a political science course. For example, in PAS itself, a political party in Malaysia, for other political parties, as long as your central committee, the highest leadership in the party, they agree with certain policies, certain decision, that will be the final. But for PAS, it's interesting in the sense of whatever decided by the party leaderships or even by the General Assembly, considered the highest decision body, it is not final yet. You have to go through a council called Shura Council, and their role is to make sure that all the decision made is in line with Sharia. Is in line with Sharia. All right. Therefore, a bit similar with the Iran system in the sense of, I'm saying similar in the sense of whatever decision made at the end of the day, it will go through religious scholar, and the religious scholar will have a final say on whether that decision is it Sharia compliance or it is not Sharia compliance. All right. All right. I still have 5 more minutes. I covered electoral system so that roughly you can know about how election function in the world. Now, electoral system generally divided into 2 types. One is single member, meaning one constituency, you only have one winner. Second type is multi-member winner. Impeachment. Okay. For the question, I try to answer if I have time later. Now, electoral system, it can be divided into both systems. Single member, to cut it short, one winner for one constituency. So how to choose the winner? One of the simplest way, this I practice in a lot of countries, the most convenient one is called first past the post. Whoever get the highest number of votes, you win. You no need to get more than half. Meaning, let's say a constituency, you have 100 voters. Candidate A get 30 votes. Candidate B get 20. Candidate C get 20, 20, 10. 30, 20, 20, 20, 10. Who are going to win? 30. Why? You are the highest of all. Do you get majority support? Not really. You only get 30% of the votes. But because you are the highest, you will be declared as the winner. For majoritarian system, the different thing is they want to make sure that any candidate that win, you must get 50% plus 1 vote. Meaning if there's 100 voters, you must get 51 votes. There's 1 million voters, you must get 500,000 plus 1 vote. All right. This is to make sure that the winner, they can get majority support. So I try to fasten it. Run off meaning you have a lot of candidates, they contest, no problem, contest. How many votes you get doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have 2 candidates with the highest number of votes, they advance to second round. meaning they have to have 2 rounds. Usually happen only for presidential election. If not, well, a lot of logistics will involve. So for example, in France, they have 2 rounds, meaning you have so many candidate contests. At the end, 2 highest votes, you go to next round. Next round, people vote again. When you have 2 candidates contesting, right? Well, most likely, rarely or superb rarely, you cannot have a winner. Alternative vote is more complicated in the sense of you, instead of choose a candidate, you rank the candidate. You have 4 candidates, you're not choosing one. You're ranking them. Who is the most preferred? You put 1. Second most preferred, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those who rank number 1, can you get 50% plus 1? If yes, you shall be declared as a winner. If you can't, the lowest voters will be eliminated. For example, candidate A, B, C, D. D is the lowest. Eliminate D, and D votes will be redistributed to those who rank them as number 2. Let's say you rank D, A, B, C. D eliminated, right? D, A, B, C, the vote will go to A. You rank D, C, B, D. So D eliminated, the vote will go to D, C, B, D, go to C, the second rank. Okay, this is the general principle. Now, next one is about multi-member system. Multi-member system, there are 2. Number 1 is winner takes all. Winner takes all meaning whoever win, the whole team win. Like in Singapore, they have group constituency, GRC, group representation constituency. The team win, 5 of them, 7 of them, we win everybody. Everybody win. A bit like US electoral system as well. You win more than half in the state, you get all the votes. All right. Another way is proportionate representation. This is more commonly used. The reason is more fair in the sense of the number of winning seats tally with the number of percentage of votes that you get. Meaning there's 200 seats. You gain 30% of the votes, meaning you're going to get 60 seats. Because 30% of 200 seats will be 60. So the number of votes that you get will convert into number of seats that you get. All right, this is a general principle. I think I left with 1 minute, so I try to answer the questions. Can you please clarify this idea of impeachment of a president, the lower house and at the Senate? The decision not to impeach is not accepted. Now, usually depends on the country. Different countries have different system. All right. I think maybe the country that you refer to, if I'm not mistaken, maybe to US, right? Because yeah, US is very famous, especially in Trump's era. US, they emphasize more onto the Senate. That's why if you realize, Senate, they are allocated with more power compared to House of Representatives. So Senate will be the one who take the first move to grill the president, to impeach the president. All right. Yes, Tiono, please go ahead. I think I can afford 1 more questions because 11:45.
Doctor,
Yes.
let me unmute him first. Chair, you can open your unmute.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for this lecture, wonderful lecture. Thank you so much. I got many things that I didn't know about. What I want to ask, among all these political systems, what is the most suitable for the people? What is the most suitable?
Good questions.
And between the absolute monarchy and the constitutional monarchy,
Okay.
which one is the most?
Good questions, but I cannot answer. Now, the reason is my answer to my students is it is not a generic answer. It depends on the country itself. I give you an extreme example. We talk about absolute monarchy. Today, world we feel that absolute monarchy is not a good one. But don't forget, a lot of dynasty, when they develop, when they progress, absolute monarchy is the reason for them to progress very fast and very well. Why? If the king is a capable person, if the king is a good person, is a best person, therefore he can make decision very fast. No need to consult people. I feel this is the right way, I straight away do it. Therefore, my progress will be faster and better. You talk about democracy, right? Even during COVID era, those countries that more democratic, well, can I have lockdown? Can I have like restricted movement? Oh, you have to consult this, consult that, consider this, consider that. Takes a long time. So depends on the society. But why today we feel that we feel not necessarily is a correct answer, but why we feel democracy is better than absolute monarchy? The reason is absolute monarchy or whatever country that practicing like autocratic or totalitarian, where a person or small group have the absolute power, why it is not inclined? The reason is if these people, they are good people, okay, that's good. But can you guarantee that whoever get to the position is good people? You can't. So one of the way is, the safer way is to have a mechanism, a system, to make sure that those who are in power, even they are not good, they cannot do things in a very bad way. Meaning, for example, constitutional monarchy, no matter the king is good or is a bad king, but the constitution will control the king. Meaning the king cannot behave in a too bad way. We have elections, meaning every few years, you can control the people, the leaders, that you cannot be too bad. If not, next election, you cannot win anymore. Therefore, to answer your questions, there's no simple answer on which system is the best system in the world. My answer to my students will be, looking at the society, which system suits them more. All right? Sister, can I take up one more questions or I have to stop now? It's 49.
Yeah, inshallah, Doctor, you can answer through the chat box, maybe, because we already passed off.
Yeah.
10.
All right. Sorry for passing the time.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your intellect sharing today. Inshallah, we'll see you again in the next session, inshallah.
All right. Bye.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nurazzura?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, Doctor.
We
Or
are
any
here
noon,
morning.
not afternoon
Yeah,
yet.
Kuala Lumpur still morning. Yeah, Kuala Lumpur still morning.
Okay. Inshallah, Doctor, we will continue with your session today. Inshallah, this is the last session for this day. So with that, this is the first time for you, Doctor.
Yes. And
So
the last is
let me introduce a little bit regarding your biodata. Okay, to the all participants, Doctor is Associate Professor Dr. Nurazzura Muhammadiyah, specialized in medical anthropology. She has obtained her PhD from the University of Western Australia. Past later, she received her diploma in digital entrepreneurship from LKN UK. She is a clarified entrepreneurship educator by the Malaysian Digital Economic Cooperative and Google Educator. She teaches economics and social course at the undergraduate level. Previously, she was a head of academics and social entrepreneurship at the Entrepreneurship Development Centers, IIUM. She also earned the entrepreneurial leader certification from the Higher Education Academy, ACAP, after completing the University Leaders Entrepreneurial Educator Bootcamp, UniLeap, ACAP KPT, Business Innovation in Malaysia and Thailand. She was appointed at the Kuliah Entrepreneurship Committee, KEN, leader and lead editor for the Kuliah Entrepreneurship bulletin, Tijari. She was appointed the judge in business pitching with CIMB and Bank Rakyat. Trainer over 300 student startup and from non-economic background and CME in digital entrepreneurship. Every year, she mentors student entrepreneur in various business competition at IIUM. With that, we will listen from her regarding the topics on the regarding the topics on, let me check, sorry. The topics today she will share with us regarding applying social entrepreneurship for money making. With that, فليتفضل مأجورة دكتور.
Thank you very much for that lengthy biodata. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning from Kuala Lumpur. I hope everyone is well out there. Now, I'm the last presenter, and I can assure you that I will keep my presentation sweet and short because in Malaysia we are close to lunchtime. All right. There's nothing fancy about my presentation. It's all about sharing my experiences with my students from the Department of Sociology and Anthropology to help some SMEs out there, particularly during the most difficult time, pandemic, COVID-19, and we are still doing it until today with other SMEs. So I would start my presentation with a short video. This video was prepared during the pandemic in 2021. It was submitted to the Ministry of Higher Education for judging in a competition that my student and I, together with the SME, participated. And Alhamdulillah, we were ranked number 3 out of 42. And this achievement is an expression or a manifestation of what I have teach my student in the classroom, what Islam has, outlined in the teaching, and I translated that into something practical. And you've read the title of my topic today is applying, so I will not be too theoretical. I will be sharing some tips or basically how, okay, my student and I help SMEs, and until today, the SMEs, okay, still running their businesses, and we as a team, we keep the relationship good until today. So allow me to share the video.
He took the berries, go back to his house, and then start to process it. To eat it, and then he also himself is a little bit more energetic, right? Kulit dia tadi macam laju sikit, yang macam normal yang saya situ lah. So kalau nak silukan dia, tadi saya tukar grind saya tukar itu dia tadi. Dosage still sama, okay, was gram, and temperature still sama. So kita tukar grind. Okay, follow. Ini sampai 1 kali ulang, 2 kali ulang, 3 kali ulang, 4 kali ulang, dan tarik macam saya buat kulit. Right, so okay. Now saya tukar out. Kalau kita ikut treatment yang saya buat, ini tak betul lah. So saya ni kalau akan tak betul, saya akan put more air lah. Selected to be part of this IIT program during this challenging time, during the lab lockdown. We have lost almost 80% of our revenue due to
no dining, we have to close down our kiosks. But this KPT idea has actually helped us to do our online training for the first time throughout the month of September. In this 1 month, we have managed to double up our revenue. How we reach out to customers, other digital platform, and the students that help Comparative to reach out to Instagram, Facebook, email, in the marketing. I would say that I am 100% or maybe 1000% happy with this turnout. We will make this online training program available as long as it is needed.
This program is a healthy mix of activities which I believe helps students in many aspects. It helps students to explore more of what they can do, and I believe it is critical to the success of any entrepreneurship education program. This whole idea of getting students involved with the MSE has given them an opportunity to put into practice the digital skills and to help customers out there to achieve their goals.
Hi, I'm Azadul. So prior to the pandemic, Coffee for Good or CFG rely on the physical coffee training. The pandemic has brought new sets of challenges that require CFG to find the alternative to enhance or to sustain their business. And our team and CFG basically have teamed up to initiate an online coffee training to enhance their income. Our team accomplished several things during the event. We did some copywriting, promoted on training on social media. We also participated as the program MC, managing technical aspects, and admittance of participants into the Zoom platform. Most importantly, we did all this together. The online coffee training has helped Coffee for Good to maximize the utilization of digital tools like MailChimp, Zoom, Instagram, and website to reach out to their potential participants. Through this online training, Coffee for Good managed to create new customer databases. Overall, this training managed to collect RM 9,035 ringgit of total sales.
Entrepreneurship needs to be contextualized within the mission of the university. In this case, we would like to see our students growing up not only to be job seekers, but also job creators. Not only jobs, but beyond jobs. In other words, creating better life for other people around the university, in fact, within the university itself.
All right, that's the end of the video, and what you saw a few minutes ago is the real outcome of what I have taught to my student in the course that I'm teaching them in 2018 until today, social entrepreneurship. So without further ado, all right, I will start my presentation today. And now, and for your information, I think the task is huge because I have to put into context, number one, the training that I have had as an anthropologist. Number two, as an entrepreneurship educator, a little bit of entrepreneurship element, and I combine that, and we will see how it is beautifully positioned, right, in the Islamic context. All right, so please bear with me in the next 20 minutes or so. I hope my slide is working, yeah? All right, can you see the second slide?
Yes, Doctor, yes.
All right. So basically, I have 5 to 6 important points to share with all the audience today, and I will be very quick. All right. Now, I think last week, all of you have heard from Dr. Nurazzura, also a medical anthropologist, and he has explained what anthropology is all about, what we study and whatnot. So I'm going to take only some aspect of that briefly, and I want to explain how anthropology is useful, meaningful, okay, in entrepreneurship. So if you out there are running your business, perhaps you should consider me, okay, in your business in the future. All right. So anthropology brings a unique perspective to entrepreneurship. Okay, in what way? Okay, because anthropologists, we study cultural competence. We study variation in taste, preferences, purchasing powers, and all sorts of things. All right, identity, the likes and dislike, of people in a particular community. Anthropology also, okay, teaches us to be critical, okay, in what we see, what we study about a particular culture. We try to understand why, okay, Gen Z, okay, why Gen Z love viral products. We wanted to understand why, for example, the logo of halal is very important in the products that Muslim entrepreneurs produce, okay, because it's an identity. It, strengthen the confidence to buy that product. And last but not least, empathy. All right. I will not talk about money so much because if I, wrongly, say something, perhaps you will not make a lot of money and you will blame me. All right. I will focus very much on the social aspect, the cultural aspect of social entrepreneurship. Next, anthropology looks into the local context, meaning to have a positive, this local context, okay, whatever you do as an entrepreneur must have a positive impact on the community and environment. When we talk about the local context, okay, is also governed by its customary law, the adat, okay, the adat. And then earlier we have listened to Dr. Lau just now. We have all the rules, we have all the the provision, the rules and whatnot in also running our business and things like that. And the one thing that I find anthropology is a special in entrepreneurship or studying, about a business is we look at the problem with empathetic eyes, all right, and try to design solutions that are, okay, if you saw on the screen that effective, sustainable, culturally and socially responsible. We do not want to help entrepreneurs out there, okay, only for a certain period of time. Say, for example, when I help Coffee for Good, it is only during the pandemic. After pandemic is none our business, that's it. No, the business is becoming stronger and stronger until today. We still exchange, calls and wishes, keep the good relationship. In fact, we also promote, okay, help Coffee for Good promote its new product on social media. So it's not a one-off thing because in business, correct me if I'm wrong, some of you, I believe, are entrepreneurs or teaching business out there. Okay, business must be sustainable. All right, I give you one example how these two brands use, okay, anthropology to increase more traffic, especially on their social media, to get more attraction, okay, more customers to purchase their product. Sephora, I think ladies out there, you have visited this place at KLCC. We have one. If you're not visiting, perhaps gentlemen, you bring your wife or your daughters here. Now, what is very important in Sephora is they beautifully, okay, they beautifully design, or give emphasis or give cultural, okay, emphasis, particularly in the Middle Eastern market in their cosmetic line on the eye makeup, because the Middle Eastern women, they have beautiful eyes, they love their eyes, and Sephora, okay, Sephora sell, okay, or showcase a lot of, eye makeup. And if you are familiar with her Huda Beauty, so Huda Beauty to emphasize more of that eye makeup. And this shows cultural importance. Okay, another brand which also use anthropology is Airbnb. And I believe most of us are familiar with this app where Airbnb understand the preference of their customers when it comes to traveling, staying, okay, during a vacation. Customers, okay, you and I, we wanted to have something personalized, okay, something which, the entire family members can do, although during vacation. For example, cooking our own food, okay, doing laundry in the house and then dry the clothes. What else? We have a special, as a Muslim, all right, we have a special prayer room. We wanted to know the Qiblat, and then we want several rooms for the girls and the boys, and we want that a place is just like our home. So Airbnb use anthropological knowledge, engage with anthropologists to help them understand how people travel, what they value in a travel experience, and they make decision about where to stay. All right. So basically, that is somehow anthropology, plays its role in helping some businesses out there. All right. So now let us move into the core of the presentation, which is social entrepreneurship. Throughout this presentation, I will use the word SE, all right? Means social entrepreneurship. Now, SE today is a growing field that blends the core values of business with the aim of solving societal problems. All right. And there are two important things that all of us have to know. SE operates with a dual bottom line, which is number one, the social impact, and number two, financial sustainability. So when you read SE or when you plan to take up this initiative in your own home later or in the classroom, you have to read that SE number one is solving societal problem, not profit making first. Okay, so profit making will be number two. All right. And as I said earlier, I will not focus so much on the profit making. Let us look into the first aspect first, which is solving societal problems, and then later money will come in. All right. For this particular presentation or this course, okay, my point of view on SE is that it operates according to a moral and ethical framework, which I will discuss in a bit, which is the Maqasid Syariah. And that framework guides both, okay, the pursuit of the social good, okay, and also the pursuit of making profit. All right. So throughout the presentation, I will share with you how the team, my student and I, and the SME, okay, we work hand in hand, okay, to achieve what we intend to do. All right. So the core principle and skills in SE, okay, I break that into, four quadrant, all right? Number one, leadership and opportunity. When you want to start SE, okay, you must have a leader with entrepreneurial mindset, right? Entrepreneurial mindset, who understands, right, the needs, okay, the needs of the community, the needs of the people out there, which can be delivered through, okay, through the business. So a leader who has an entrepreneurial mindset, they will have a different way of thinking. It will be always a growth mindset. Okay, we wanted to see how much we can do, how much we can reach out to the community and things like that. And as a leader in SE, you must grab the opportunity, and the opportunity is huge. If you still remember the video earlier just now, okay, how the owner of Coffee for Good, okay, Farida, make use of the opportunity, knowing us, making connection with us, me, the lecturer, and my student, leverage on technology. All right, she never, okay, had her coffee training online. It was our crazy mind, okay, our crazy mind proposed to her that, Farida, why don't you, okay, think differently, get your coffee training online. We will help you with the Zoom because the girls are very good at Zoom. At that time, it was the pandemic, so they know where to click the button to, create the breakout rooms and whatnot. All right. What else? Okay, I taught them about copywriting, things like that. So we grabbed that opportunity. And we also learn, okay, about coffee business. I love to drink coffee, but I know nothing about the bean, all right? I know nothing about the process. I do not know about, even operates a coffee machine. So this opportunity, okay, we combine force, okay, and see how we can complement each other's, strength, all right, and produce, okay, a wonderful result. So leadership and opportunity. Number two, okay, in order to initiate an SE a business, all right, you must have an innovative solution. Remember, I told you, okay, that Coffee for Good never in their wildest dream to organize the training online. All right, but okay, with our with the confidence, okay, assurance we gave to the company, that can be done. So until today, I will show you the website, okay? The initiative that we work together during the pandemic is very much alive until today, and you can also sign up, okay? We are charging, oh, I can't believe it that I'm doing a commercial, some promotion here, never mind. All right, you can sign up, okay, if you want to learn about coffee, all right, and also creativity. So this combination of principle and skills actually help to help businesses, okay, to grow and do new things, okay, in line with whatever is taking place today. Now we're talking about AI and whatnot, all right. And the next core principle and skill is emotional intelligence and empathy. When we never met, okay, Farida, even my student, we operate, okay, we operate under our own roof, okay. Maizatul, she was in Johor. All right. There's, the second lady just now. All right. She was in Pahang, and another one, the third student, she was in Sabah. I was in KL. All right. And Farida was in Selangor. Imagine different roofs. All right. So when we met online, we listen. Okay. We listen attentively. Okay. When we listened to Farida, she said, I'm very sad. We are affected, badly affected. My business is badly affected by this pandemic. I cannot even earn a single cent, for the past few weeks. All right. So yeah, we feel sorry about that. Although, my students, okay, they don't have business. All right. I have, okay, a small one with, the children. So as an entrepreneur, okay, myself, I understand the struggle, right? Because why? We need to pay others who work with us. Okay, we need, okay, to bring food to the table. We need to do a lot of things to pay bills, all right, and many other things. And the last one is being ethical and also value driven. Now, the one value that the team embraced during that time, okay, during COVID-19, is courageous. So we walk together, okay, we walk together with that one value, all right? And I told my students that it's okay, we are not in the coffee business, okay? I am lecturer, you are student. We know nothing about, coffee except drinking coffee for free most of the time, all right? We try, okay? We try because we have the skill, we have the knowledge, the ilm, all right? Now we should put to test, okay, our knowledge, our ilm. Okay, that is very much, okay, in line with Islam. Islam is a way of life. Islam is a practice, okay, is a practice. All right, so what we understand, okay, what we understand, what we learned, okay, from that very small age until now, okay, it needs to be put into practice. So I told the student, we have to be courageous, we have to help them, all right? We have the knowledge and we have to put things into practice. And all these core principles and skills, okay, have tremendously helped, all right, Coffee for Good, Puan Farida and her staff, okay, to sustain the business even post pandemic. All right, now, as I said, okay, SE is in accordance with Maqasid Sharia, where the protection of deen, protection of nafs, akal, nasl, and also mal, wealth, all right? If you look at the small description there under each elements of Maqasid Sharia, all right, from the religion until wealth, all right, we have to comply with Islamic ethical standards. We're talking about if you're producing food, it must be, halal certified, okay, halal ingredients and whatnot, all right, because we want to do things, okay, we want to do things in accordance with Sharia. And protection of nerves, all right? So when we offer our services, our product, all right, it must improve the quality of life. So when we propose to Coffee for Good that, hey, look, okay, we want you to do, okay, your coffee training online, okay, online, because we want to improve the quality of life. You as the entrepreneur, the owner of Coffee for Good, in our case, okay, in my case, I want to improve also my, teaching and learning with the students, okay, and our audience, okay. Most of them were laid off from jobs, okay. Some of them are youth who wants to become a barista, but they couldn't do it because of the lockdown. So it must improve the quality of life, okay, the entrepreneur, the trainers, all right, and also our audience, the customer. Now, SE2, okay, SE2 offers, in the context of teaching and learning, all right, offers a wide range of services. Now we're talking about TVET here in Malaysia, and then we have AI to come to terms with. Right, all these technological innovation, sorry, that can improve people's skills and knowledge. All right. Now, the protection of lineage, all right? We want to create a family-friendly business models that, of course, in line with the Sharia, encourage well-being of our future generations, all right? We need to transmit, okay, those things to, our family members who will run the business later, all right? With the spirit of Sharia, we want to ensure that, okay, our family institution, business institution also remains, strong. And the last one, protection of wealth. All right, making money in Islam, okay, we are allowed to make money as much as you wish, all right? Because I remember, okay, let me just read this to you. One authentic hadith I quote from Sahih Bukhari. All right, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like I said, the best earning is what a man earns by his own hands and every permissible transaction. So it must be ethically, morally grounded. Okay, as I said just now, halal, trustworthy, and whatnot, right? Because we want to ensure that, the wealth that we accumulated, the wealth that we, created, all right, is to benefit the society. Is to benefit the society. Again, as I said, SE, we read, okay, solving societal problem, not only looking after our pocket money. In other businesses, perhaps, okay, the company's growth, okay, the company's wealth, okay, you put it number one. But SE, what I like is, okay, we put the wealth for the benefit of the members of the society. Now, let me just present to you two case study which I'm familiar with, all right? Early this month, I am lucky to be invited by Asia Business School near Bank Negara to meet the founder, okay, the founder or the person who discovered a factual theory. I think those in economics, in business, all right. And it was during lunchtime, okay, lunchtime, we were served with a wide range of food. There's vegetarian, there's Malay, there's Arab food, there's Chinese food, and you have to pick only one. You cannot take from from left to your right, only one. Now, this food is an ordinary food, the food that you enjoy in your own home or anywhere you dine with your friend. But the one who cooked the food, okay, is very interesting. Now, Picha Eats, if you Google, you can see the description, all right, helps, okay, immigrants, okay, to earn some income, all right? So what they did, okay, the owner attended, okay, the founder attended the symposium, all right? And he said that, okay, we identified migrants, okay, who can cook, okay, and become our chef and send the food. So in a way, okay, they can, polish more of their cooking skill, and at the same time, okay, get people who attended the symposium at that time to enjoy a variety of food. Now, if you look at this food box, okay, food box is mine. I took a picture and I kept it. I do not know what to do. I keep it there in my social media, not knowing that this photo is useful, okay, for our discussion today. All right. So interestingly, Picha Eats, okay, recognize, appreciate, all right, the food of the migrants, okay, the food of the migrants. So in Osama's Syrian kitchen, there's a story. Okay, there's a story about this food, and also the chef, the cook. All right. Let me just read this to you. When Osama was younger and his mother was busy, he developed his cooking skill by having to cook for his brothers. At home, he would learn different recipes from his father, who is also a chef. Even when he was in university studying computer investment, he would spend his time working at his friend's restaurant. Now he's doing what he loves and serving food not only for Malaysians but also for his family. As they're putting food on your table, you're putting food on theirs, man. Okay, the organizer pay Picha Eats, and Picha Eats pay the chef, or what is this, Osama. All right. So this is one SE initiative, okay, currently running in Malaysia. And I am happy, that I met and spoke, okay, to some of the kitchen assistant, the kitchen crew, all right, who served the food at that time, okay, in each different station. And yes, they're happy to tell us the story behind the food. They told us the ingredients, the spices, and things like that. So for details, okay, all of you can Google Picha Eats. All right. The second case study is based on the video that you have seen earlier before I start my presentation, Coffee for Good. It is still there, okay, very much alive until today. So if you scroll in one of the buttons there, you will see, Belajar Kopi means learn about coffee. And, okay, I think it is very special. And actually, I wanted to cry whenever, I'm sorry, I'm very emotional, okay? When I look at the word here, IIUM, on their social media platform, this is on the Instagram, you can find also, or on their Facebook, when Coffee for Good recognize what we have done for them. And in return, yes, we got a cup of coffee for free from Farida. But the most important thing is to, stamp and mark the contribution of the lecturer, students of International Islamic University, Malaysia. I'm not joking. If you Google now, all right, www Coffee for Good, okay, you will see their program. Click on our programs and scroll. You will see that, the name of the university is there. All right. And the list of modules, that I've shown on the video briefly just now is also still there. So you can click, and share this, with potential baristas, or how you want to involve, perhaps participate in the coffee industry business. You can directly contact Farida, and perhaps the promo code is Dr. Azura. Okay, you can get a discount price. All right, now I have a few more slides. Now, what makes Coffee for Good Picha Eats, works? All right. Number one, they work with a team of lecturer and student, from the human sciences, who study about culture, who understand about culture, and who have this entrepreneurial mindset. So when we identify, the real problem of that particular SME, we understand that their problem is reduction of sales, means no money coming in. All right. And we come in with innovative, creative solution, learning coffee online. All right. And what we tell Coffee Good to offer is convenient, flexibility. You can download, and at any time the learning is at your own pace, flexible, and definitely is only 20 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit per one module. Very low cost. You don't have to worry about traffic jam, whatsoever. All right. So we have to think outside the box, to provide that innovative, creative solution, so that the small business, grow, and this small business will do more, to their beneficiaries. Now, Coffee for Good beneficiaries are the youth, undeserved youth, and now they are helping people with disability, right? Okay. Now, as I said just now, leadership and identifying opportunity is very pertinent, because a leader with entrepreneurial mindset will see a bigger picture, how we can empower, not only empower our own staff in the in the company, but we empower the community. We empower women, we empower marginalized group or underprivileged. All right. And the next one is networking. So when we initiate this program, we are not doing it in silos. We are not doing it alone. All right. Now, Farida has, a huge command in, business. All right. She's in the coffee industry, whereas my student and I, we only drink coffee, but we trust each other. We know that you will offer me something good, I will offer you something good in return, things like that. So we link ourselves, not only industry and university, university and stakeholders, and other people which have similar interests in what we are doing at that time. In fact, until today. And lastly is leveraging and technology is a must today. I'm not going to delve into the terrifying part of AI, but we have to accept that AI now is the new kid on the block. AI is our new neighbor. And what I can say, while waiting for regulation, while waiting for standardization on AI, all right, by the policymaker, rule maker, all right, Dr. Lau and his team, we use AI as ethically as possible. All right, and the next one that I want to share with you out of this SE is value creation. Now, partnership between stakeholders, between Coffee for Good and IIUM. I'm referring my team as IIUM. Okay, IIUM is trust. Okay, Coffee for Good trust is okay. We trust one another. All right, and that is the foundation of our authentic partnership. If Coffee for Good has no trust or we have violated, broken that trust, I don't think so. I'm able to share this experience with you. And I will not be here talking to you. Right? So trust, okay, trust is the foundation of authentic partnership. And if all of you remember, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is also an entrepreneur, okay, coming from an entrepreneurship family, married, okay, to a successful, woman entrepreneur, Sayyidatina Khadijah. And because of this trust, he was called or known as Al-Amin, all right? And Sayyidatina Khadijah trusted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to look after, her business. Right, so trust, okay, is very important. Number two, responsible. Okay, both of us, okay, Coffee for Good, the company, we IIUM students and lecturer, we are responsible to manage, okay, resources, manage social environment impacts, all right? And as I said, it is not a one-off thing. All right, we wanted to make sure that our business, okay, our initiative will not do harm to the society, will not, appear dangerous, okay, dangerous to the people that we serve. So we are responsible and also accountable. And last but not least is respect. So we appreciate our local culture, and I think we appreciate more today with that boycott of certain big coffee brands. Okay, we push our local coffee in this SE or general business, cafe, anywhere you see now. All right, and we want to keep that tradition of drinking coffee very much enjoyed by the younger generation, and also perhaps many people out there who visit our country, who come to the cafe, to the premise. Okay, if you visit IIUM, we have good coffee cafes. I think 2 or 3. Okay, we have Monty Coffee at the Human Sciences building. We have He and She at the Economics building. We have Ricciamo Coffee at the near the banks there. So we appreciate local culture more and give them, give local coffee more voice. Okay, more voice to, to, yeah, to make people understand and look. Okay, our coffee is, as good as other, coffee out there. All right. So, okay, I think this is the second last slide. What are the key lessons for today? I would like to quote, one, I think a very important verse, okay, from Surah Al-An'am. Allah mentioned that we have a duty to create prosperity, meaning, okay, Islam, our religion, encourage us to create prosperity. So if you haven't start your business, you have no intention to start business, why don't you start now? Okay, because Islam allows that. And okay, the word there is a duty, is an obligation to create prosperity and also usefulness of the earth. All right, use whatever resources around you. Perhaps you have a small garden. Sell those edible plants, okay, to your neighbor, to the community. Make full use, okay, of the earth. The earth. All right. So number one, okay, only two things. Two key lessons today. Number one, impact on business. We're talking about economic prosperity for who? Okay, for everyone, for everyone. Because achieve economic prosperity together. If you listen from the words of my student, we are doing this as a team. We are doing this together, so it's for everyone. And then we work for the common good of many, increase brand visibility, okay, and empower people. Number two, okay, I think I'm reminding also myself that SE, okay, SE actually has a huge impact on our relationship. With who? With our creator, Hablum min Allah, and also with the people. In fact, I have also, okay, a responsibility, a duty to share this with you because I'm, as an entrepreneur, as a Muslim entrepreneur, I have to, okay, I have to what? I have to share this with all of you here, so that when you, okay, plan to do your own SE, all right, you have to what? Accentuate a dual construct motive in all of your activities related to human being. Okay, by which I mean, okay, you have to what? To care and you have to do good to one another. All right. So hablum min Allah, we must serve and worship only Allah, and we must be every minute, every second, be thankful and grateful. Okay, that there's abundance. There's abundance of blessing around them is, so we must, okay, we must be thankful and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and every good deed to human being, in the case of SE, for example, is supposed to carry out, okay, Allah's command. What is Allah commands? Okay, create prosperity, help others, all right? And also we need to, as I said, keep the good relationship with Allah Ta'ala. All right? Okay, and the last one. Okay, to conclude my presentation, I have only 4 things here. Number one, Islam encourages entrepreneurial activities, entrepreneurial development. All right. If you are not entrepreneur yourself, become one. Okay. If you say that entrepreneurship is not fit, it's not for me. Okay, it's okay. Support them. Okay, support them. Number two, as a Muslim, okay, we are responsible to generate wealth. Why? Because it is considered as ibadah. If you do good, you will be rewarded. All right. If you do otherwise, you will be punished. All right. And I think this the term ibadah, you have listened from also previous speakers invited to this discussion. Number three, as a Muslim, we are still breathing. We have all our hands and legs, right? Our mind. Become a useful person to the society. Stop talking about others. Stop destroying your colleagues. Stop. Earlier just now we listened to Dr. Tengku Aisha. Stop flaming. Throw up. What else? Strolling. Do bad things on social media. Become a useful person to the society. Help. Our entrepreneurs. Help our people, all right, our society, our community. And lastly, live ethically, honestly, sincerely, and inshallah, the good things will come our way. With that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Doctor. MashaAllah. This very, what I call, not only the sharing, but this is like nasihat. More to nasihat. Inshallah. We have open 1 or 2 questions, Doctor. if there is a in the
I'm checking also the slide. Oh, Professor Malia, may I know what is the profit to date? As I said just now, Prof. Malia, I did not focus on the profit so much, and I think I forgot to ask Farida. All right, but because she's moving from one place to another, okay, I think quite a lot, okay, I think quite a lot. But if you are focusing, or if you ask me about the online program, so the online program, yeah, $1,000, $1,000, all right. I'm sorry if I did not answer your question. I think this Prof. Malia from accounting, if I'm not mistaken. All right. All right.
if the student, participant, if you want to have a question, you can also raise up your hand so that I can open unmute for you.
Okay, now there's one question, and I think I have no answer to this too. What's the best coffee, and is it entirely healthy? Well, sir, okay, I think Mr. Abdul Hakim, I'm not so sure of the best coffee, but I love, okay, cappuccino personally. And I'm crossing my 50s now, and I think I'm healthy drinking coffee every day. I do not know. I'm sorry. I don't have the answer for that. Perhaps, because I drink coffee without sugar, so I like that bitterness. Perhaps if you ask me the bean, okay, I think if you visit Bacha, okay, Bacha or Baka in KLCC, they have a range of coffee, and I think the best coffee bean comes from. I don't want to mention specific country, no offense, yeah, in Africa, okay, in Africa. All right, so if you visit Bacha or Baka in KLCC, I think they're able to explain to you because in Africa, you have a different beans, right? Okay, so yeah. Mm-hmm. Now there's also those who say thank you for the presentation. My pleasure. I hope you learned something from our little effort to help the community. So can you say in brief difference between social enterprise and Prof. Mohamad social business? Well, I think when it comes to terminology, okay, social entrepreneurship, social enterprise. And I think for Prof. Mohamad, some social business, we can consider that his idea, the Grameen Bank, yeah, okay, if you're mentioning Prof. Mohamad Yunus, okay, Grameen Bank is, we can consider that as an SE2, all right? And if you listen to his story, that even the woman there in Bangladesh, all right, they are not even allowed to touch the money, the real money. It's taboo. Okay, it's taboo. So when he initiated this idea, there's a lot of disagreement coming from the community. But Alhamdulillah, he did. He did well. Okay, he did well, and until today, Grameen Bank is still helping women. I don't want to comment on that Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica or from Nigeria, all right? So I think you can explore because our taste buds are different, okay? Perhaps Indonesia, they will say, oh, our kopi luwak is the best, all right? So yeah, you can explore more. All right, what else? Let me just... I I never thought I have never thought in line of what I have today through you sharing. All right, okay. Now let me just tell you, okay, honestly, as Sister Juwairia introduced me to all of you. By training, I am a medical anthropologist by training. All right. But in 2017, when MDEC, Malaysian Digital Economic Corporation, came to introduce this digital entrepreneurship, I say, what is this thing? All right. And I volunteered. Okay, I volunteered to learn. Okay, learn. It was in 2017. And I said, give it a go and see how these new things, okay, in technology, in business will, help me in my teaching and learning. I come with zero, understanding about social media, AI, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I have only one at that time, Facebook. All right, but it's for personal engagement. I did not use for business. All right. So in 2017, I signed up this course, okay, and it was a 3 years program in which at the end of the day I got my digital entrepreneurship. And then when COVID came in end of 2019, okay, early 2020, I think in March, Malaysia experienced the lockdown. I am prepared, okay, I am prepared, and that is the time when my student it was a small assignment. Okay, my student earn easily 80,000, 40,000, 30,000, all right, on the social media. And all of this, we did not study seriously accounting. We did not understand some, economic and business term. It was very basic. So I'm very much, I'm thankful to MDAC and to the university for giving me this opportunity. So if I can do it, I tried, I learned. In fact, until today also, I'm still learning. Right now, I'm taking a certification on AI for business. I think you can see because Islam, okay, Islam is is beautiful. Okay, it's beautiful. It looks into things holistically, and that same concept, holistic in Islam, is also the same concept that I teach my student in anthropology. In anthropology, we also use the term holistic. All right, we look into our physical, biological makeup, right, with that of our social and cultural, and see how these two things, okay, create a meaningful, understanding about culture, things like that. So it's not a one day thing. I, sit down, okay, and think what is the best for my student in terms of teaching and learning, and how they see and appreciate anthropology in business. So because anthropology is not like in other Western country, like America, in the UK, in Europe, okay, where they fully utilize, engage with anthropologists. They make full use of anthropological knowledge in making movie, making film. Not only anthropologists, psychologists, and other fields as well. All right. So I want student to see. Okay, I want student to see, because in the Quran, in Surah Al-Hujurat, if you remember verse 13, Allah mentioned clearly, okay, I created, man in pairs, all right, in pairs, so that you know one another, the likes and dislike, the preferences, the differences, this tribe, this clan. So what Allah is trying to tell us, that is all anthropology, that is culture. The mechanics to understand this culture, perhaps you can get from social entrepreneurship, you can get perhaps from the movie, the food, okay, the cafe, the songs, the dance, okay, the traditional attire, and whatever is out there in our community. All right, okay. There are too many coffee products in Malaysia that I cannot decide which one to be my favorite. This is bad. No, it's not bad. Try all. Support, okay, support coffee shop. All right. Assalamualaikum, Waalaikumsalam. Okay, Mr. Abdul Samad Sheikh from, okay. I need to leave now. Okay, yes, Prof. Okay, thank you very much for your question. And I think that is all the time that we have for today. If you want to contact me, I think I can share my email here with you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
All right, yeah, that's my email. Well, I think in Malaysia, it's near to lunchtime now. It's just nice. Okay, I end the Q&A session. So thank you very much, Siti Juwairia, and everyone.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your intellect sharing and very wonderful. I hope all participants can grab that all knowledge and practice it, inshallah. So
inshallah to see you next time, Doctor, if possible. Thank you very much.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
So to all participants, inshallah, the slide I will share in the group, inshallah. So Doctor, can you send that slide to me so that I can share it in the
Yes,
group?
sure. I'll do that.
And with all participants, inshallah, we will see you again in the next weeks, which is which 10, inshallah. Thank you very much. With that, we close our class today with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-Asr. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihati wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Wa billahi taufiq wal hidayah.